tell you what, 7 days ago when the Mexican national anthem was belted out at the Azteca, it was special then, and then that was just as special at a jam-packed Guadalajara stadium as well. We've got planes flying over with red, white and green smoke coming out of the back as they go over the Guadalajara stadium, a Mexico flag flying out the back of one of them. The two sets of players shaking hands just as they move around the edge of the centre circle. That was rousing, Charlie. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was special, and you have to use that home advantage to really go that altitude as well, which will be difficult for the South Koreans. So you have to take as much confidence from what you have around you to be able to do that. And this Mexican team have got some good players that can hurt you on the day.
Well, the players in the starting 11, I mentioned a few moments ago, they make 3 changes from the opening night. They go with Raul Rangel in goal. Now, he plays for Guadalajara, one of 4 Guadalajara players in the starting 11 at their home ground tonight. The back 4, Jorge Sanchez, Edson Alvarez of West Ham, who's recently been on loan at Fenerbahce, Johan Vasquez and Jesus Gallardo make up the defensive 4. Sitting just in front of them, Eric Lira. Then it's a 2 of Luis Romo, another Guadalajara player, and Brian Gutierrez, with the forward 3 being Roberto Alvarado, and then the 2 people who scored on the opening night at the Azteca, Julian Quinones and Raul Jimenez. Recently gone back to Wolves. We've seen him over the last few seasons playing for Fulham, banging them in there. Might be 35, always a threat as we saw last week.
Yeah, again, going for Wolves, that's a big signing. Dropping back into the Championship for them next year gives them a huge opportunity to come straight back up. But again, that goal that he scored, so emotional of it, that moment to score for Mexico is really special. And yeah, he's a very good player, and he, like you say, for Wolves, I think is a top signing for them to rebuild for next season.
Yeah, Raul Jimenez back at Wolves, won't be playing for the manager who signed him because he's since been dismissed, but that's another issue to talk about on another night. As far as South Korea are concerned, 1 change from their opening night win against the Czech Republic. They line up 3-4-3 in front of goalkeeper Kim Seong-ju, the back 3, Lee Han-byum, Bayern Munich's Kim Min-jae and Lee Ji-yuk. The 2 in midfield, Hwang In-byum, one of the scorers against the Czech Republic last week, and Paik Seung-ho, who will be very familiar to fans of Birmingham City. Kim Moon-hwan comes into play wide left, Seol Young-woo plays wide right, and then the top 3, Lee Kang-in of PSG, Lee Jae-sung of Mainz, and somebody who you might have heard of before, Son Heung-min of Los Angeles FC. 56 goals in 144 caps, South Korea's record caps holder, and is quite simply, Charlie Adam, a modern-day Tottenham Hotspur legend.
He's a special player, very fortunate enough to play against him, and he was a real threat, quality, sometimes played off a side, could play as a 9, just brilliant footballer at times. And yeah, his energy, pressing, just incredible. And obviously left Tottenham to go to the MLS, but special player for Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, Park, or Son rather, not Park. Son needs 2 more goals to equal the record for a South Korea player of 58. Son on 56. The record was set by Cha Bum-kun. He got 58. I mean, he could have had a hat-trick last week. Could Son? We'll wait and see what he can do tonight. Big ask, playing Mexico in Guadalajara. This is going to be a different kettle of fish to the Czech Republic game 7 days ago.
Yeah, but again, he'll be looking at maybe possibly playing against Edson Alvarez, not his natural position to be playing centre-backs. He normally plays midfield, so that be something that they might look at. Maybe Son could play against him and maybe be the threat. And yeah, could have scored a hat-trick the other night, but he's sort of the poster boy of Korean football, and what a wonderful career he's had so far.
The South Korean players have just broken out of their huddle to the right of halfway. The countdown has begun inside the Guadalajara stadium. Mexico wearing all black. South Korea, who get the game started, wearing all light purple. It is Mexico against South Korea in Group A, second round of group fixtures. Whoever wins will be guaranteed a place in the knockout stages and will become the first team to guarantee themselves this time around, this year, a place in the knockout stages. Actually, Charlie Adam and Lee Blakeman, your commentary team, here on 5 Live and BBC Sound. South Korea kicking from right to left as we look at things in the first 45 in the Guadalajara Stadium. They go back to their goalkeeper, Kim Seong-ju, and he goes long to the left where they've got a runner straight away. The ball has made its way to Lee Jae-sung. He goes back to Lee Ji-yuk, and the referee stopped play for something which he doesn't like. I think offside flag had gone up over on the far side.
Yeah, it was lazy attacking play really from So Young-woo. He just gets caught offside, but again, it's an opportunity looking at Mexico playing with that sort of back four and 4-3-3, pressing 4-3-3 as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they try and build the game, Mexico, and trying to use this home advantage, but also as well this altitude is going to be a big advantage to them as well.
Mexico with the ball on the far side. Quinones wins his team a throw-in just inside their own half, which they look to take quickly, and they do. They go back to Jesus Gallardo, who's playing in the left-back area, and then they work the ball infield. This one live on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, one of 92 live commentaries from the 104 games that we'll be bringing you across the tournament. It's also live on BBC TV, this one as well, as Mexico work the ball across their back four and win themselves a throw-in, this time in their right-back area. Just had a look at Lee Jae-sung of Mainz, 33 years of age, was decent in the opening game that I covered last week against the Czech Republic. Mexico here go long. We just had a close-up as well of the South Korean head coach, Hong Myung-bo. He is under pressure from the South Korean supporters just because of the style of football that he's brought in. They've not been too happy, even though they were brilliant through the qualifiers. They've not been happy with the style of play, and they have taken a bit of time to get going in games as well. 14 of the last 15 goals at World Cups have come in the second half of games, including both in the last game against the Czech Republic. They came from behind in that one to win by 2-1. So it goes to show results not enough for some supporters, no matter where you are. They want attractive football as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, but that's an unbelievable character to come back, like you say, scoring late, second half. You know, it's easy just to maybe come off it, but they keep going. They've got a good work ethic, they've got a good togetherness, and as long as they keep winning football matches, the supporters can moan all they want. The most important thing is about winning football games.
Mexico go long down the centre, looking for the run of Brian Gutierrez, but the ball's tidied up and cleared away by South Korea. Ball's loose in the midfield at the moment. Luis Romo puts his foot on the ball for Mexico, draws the foul, goes down holding his right ankle, and Mexico will have a free kick inside their own half. 3.5 minutes gone, 0-0 in the Guadalajara Stadium between Mexico and South Korea. I mentioned that Mexico are wearing all black and South Korea are wearing what I called light purple. Apparently space purple is the official colour of their kit, as we see a yellow card waved in the face of Lee Kang-in, the number 19 for South Korea, for that late tackle on Luis Romo.
Yeah, he's caught him just above the ankle there of Luis Romo, and I just didn't like that. Romo's brandishing that fake yellow card, trying to get him booked. You know, yeah, it was a foul and the referee made the decision, but you don't need to try and get players booked. It wasn't a great tackle from Lee Kang-in, but it was good start from Mexico, picking up the second ball.
I mean, if this was the Premier League, the players who waved those imaginary yellow cards would be in trouble as well. We saw a few people booked for doing exactly that last season. Mexico take the free kick, they play on. The ball's been left that time by Roberto Alvarado because he knew he was coming back from an offside position. Poor from him, allows the ball to run all the way through and behind for a goal kick to South Korea. Yet to get going this game, still 0-0 between the two teams. If you are just dipping in and out of our coverage, there have been quite a few goals overnight. The Switzerland game, which was the 8 o'clock kickoff, took forever to get going. All the goals coming in the last 16 minutes plus stoppage time, as Switzerland beat Bosnia and Herzegovina 4-1. Bosnia and Herzegovina ended the game with 10 men as well. And Canada beating 9-man Qatar 6-0. So a big win for one of the host countries there. Here we're watching another one of them, Mexico, who have the ball in the midfield. They're struggling to make it stick, but you know what? He's done really well there. Eventually, Quinones to come away with the ball, tries the through ball. South Korea get back in their numbers and scramble the ball clear towards halfway, and then it falls for Eric Lira on the edge of the centre circle. He plays it forwards to Luis Romo, who's been in the thick of the action a few times in the opening 5.5 minutes. Jimenez with the ball out to the left. They're looking dangerous in this move here, Mexico. Low ball in, looking for Quinones, cleared away sideways by South Korea, who have the ball in their right back area and should clear long down the right. Indeed they do, and Mexico will build again from the halfway line. Yeah,
it was good play from Pak Sung-hyo, covering that space there when the ball went out to Gallardo there on that left hand side. But it was really important when the fullback goes out, he needs to cover the space, and he did that brilliantly well.
Pak Sung-ho, 4 goals in 46 games for Birmingham City in the Championship last season. This is 29th cap for South Korea as Mexico try a shot from distance. That's going to be easy though this time for goalkeeper Kim Seong-ju, because Alvarado never really got his foot around the ball that time.
No, it wasn't. It was just a sort of bit of a sclaff there. But just watching Raul Jimenez now starting to peel off of Lee Ji-hook, and he doesn't want to go up against Kim Min-jae, the big centre back from Bayern Munich. He's looking just to peel off the shoulder and look that he's going to be the one that's going to get an advantage, because he's a big lad, very good in the air, as we've seen over the years at Wolves and at Fulham. But also his goal that he scored in the last game was a lovely header as well. So no, they're the small details that you're looking for.
Mexico with a shot from distance, this time from 25 yards out, and again, like Alvarado before, Brian Gutierrez never really got hold of the ball before he hit one from distance, and it was easy for the goalkeeper Kim Seong-ju, dropping to his left. He's wearing all yellow, the South Korean goalkeeper, top, shorts and socks, and his kick off the ground has got so much power on it goes all the way through to his opposite number, Raul Rangel, the Mexican goalkeeper, who's wearing all green, as any goalkeeper should do. We like tradition, John.
Yeah, we do like tradition. But again, I'm interested to look at this battle between Alvarez and Son. At times Alvarez could be a little bit emotional and really rashes onto players. So, I think Son will be looking to try and play against him, to try and get an advantage against him. Maybe looking to play off his shoulder, but he needs support. He needs also good quality into his feet, Son, or in behind. So, yeah, that's another sort of battle that we could see. 2 number 9s of Jimenez and Son against the 2 centre-backs could be key tonight in this game. 8
minutes gone, 0-0. It's been all Mexico going forwards so far. Son playing in his 4th World Cup, 3 goals in 11 previous World Cup games. He scored 10 in the qualifying rounds, did Son as well. When you're 2 off the all-time record, if you're Son, selfishly, you're never going to admit it in a press conference, selfishly, will that be on your mind though?
Oh no, you'll know that record's there. All the best players do. Your Kanes, your Ronaldos, Messi's, they know what's coming up and what's the next one, and people will be telling him he'll know what's coming, and he'll want to be that sort of focal point for South Korea, and if he does that, then it'll be an unbelievable achievement. So no, that's definitely on his mind. But he doesn't come across as that sort of selfish player. I think he's a massive team player, and the most important thing for him at the moment will be the team winning.
He looked last week like he was starting to get emotional. I mentioned just before the game kicked off, he could have had a hat-trick in that game against the Czech Republic. That's probably being kind. He could have had 4 or 5 by his standards on another day. And you can just see the frustration. He ended up getting taken off, and the guy who come on to take his place ended up getting the winning goal. You could just see him getting more and more frustrated because the standards he sets himself are so high as he pushes for this record. Mexico here pushing for an opener. Alvarado in from the right, tries a cross. South Korea able to cut that out well. Son amongst the players back defending, as is Lee Jae-sung back from the forward line, and South Korea go all the way back to their goalkeeper. That's what separates elite players from great players, right?
Yeah, he's in.
Long ball over the top by South Korea, just enough on it to carry through to goalkeeper Raul Rangel as Son closed him down.
Yeah, just again, it's just that threat of in behind, his pace that he's got, we've seen it over the years in the Premier League. We still got that pace, so looking to run off the shoulder of Alvarez there, and the ball was just overhit. But it was a lovely play for South Korea, trying to build the play from the back. And no, they're not want to just come here and kick it long. They're looking to try and build and play. You have to, when you've got quality players in your team, especially when you got, you know, Kim Min-jae of Bayern Munich there looking to build. He won't want to play long all the time. You look for his midfielders again, looking to say 3-2 build up, because Mexico looking to press in that front three, be aggressive. So you got to be brave with the ball. We've seen some teams not brave and ultimately keep giving the ball away, but South Koreans looking to play, we're looking to build, and then trying to get into that forward area.
Ball goes out for a throw-in on this near side to South Korea in their left-back area. We have had 11 minutes, 0-0 in Guadalajara in Group A between Mexico and South Korea. South Korea looking to win their first 2 games at a World Cup for the very first time, playing in their 12th World Cup, their 11th in a row, as the ball goes back to Mexico inside their own half, in their left-back area with Gallardo. He plays the ball forwards, and they have it in the centre circle here to Mexico, but Quinones loses it, mainly because he was fouled, and Mexico will have a free kick. Scrappy at the moment, yet to really get going. As I say, Mexico having more of the ball. South Korea look quite happy for them to do that, because they're doing absolutely nothing with it.
Yeah, again, but ultimately you've got to look at the altitude, the heat. You've got to try and save yourself and pick your right moments when you want to press. Sol Young-woo looking to press the fullback, left fullback there, trying to get wing back to fullback, and Lee Han-bom going really aggressive against Kino there, and actually committing the foul. But when they're in that right position to actually go and press South Korea, they're going, everybody's going together, and now that's why they're trying to get the ball back. They get high up the pitch, putting pressure on Mexico in Mexico's half.
Another big night of sport on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Big night of news as well. We await the result of the Makerfield by-election. As soon as we get anything confirmed, we will bring you an update here on 5 Live as the counting continues in that particular constituency. As soon as there's any news, we'll bring it to you here, and you can follow things step by step with the live text commentary of what is or isn't going on via the BBC News website and app. Now, here comes South Korea on the attack down the left with Lee Jae-sung. Got caught on the ball. Mexico able to dispossess him and come away down the left with Gallardo.
Yeah, it's good play there. Good play from Gutierrez there, winning the ball back. But Mexico looked really sharp, really aggressive. Started on the front foot there. And Kino looks like he's up for it tonight. He's being aggressive, getting on the ball and trying to make things happen.
Great atmosphere in the Guadalajara Stadium, capacity of just over 45,000. Pretty much full as far as we can see. We can see the odd empty seat dotted around, which is surprising with it being a Mexico game in Mexico at a World Cup, but pretty much full. Certainly more full than the stadium was for South Korea against the Czech Republic last week, when it looked only half full. Much more have turned out, obviously, with it being a Mexico game. The opening game for Mexico in the Azteca was just something just to behold.
It's so difficult in terms of travel, but also as well the pricing. I think again we're looking at, you know, the national teams are followed all over the world. You know, look at Scotland, a lot of supporters in the stadiums, and they make the atmosphere. I think it's been some amazing games so far, and England the other night, the atmosphere they brought to the game was incredible.
Speaking of which, are you excited for tomorrow night? Nervous at this stage?
No, not nervous. I think we're calm. You know, we've got that one win that we need. We've craved for, and now it's about trying to up our level, and hopefully we're better with the ball. And if we do that, then we'll give ourselves a better chance of winning the football match. 11
o'clock kickoff. Scotland against Morocco tomorrow night, live on 5 Live and BBC Sounds with Pat Nevin and Alistair Lamont. The ball inside the Mexico half with one of the Mexico defenders at the moment. West Ham's Edson Alvarez moves into the centre circle. And again, South Korea just happy for Mexico to have the ball, because as much of it as they've had, they haven't really tested the South Korean goalkeeper Kim Seung-ju at all so far. They play the ball forwards towards Raul Jimenez, knocked off it, and then Mexico commit a foul on Lee Jae-sung as they try and win it back. It will be a South Korean free kick inside their own half. It just needs a chance, this, to just spark the game to life.
But again, I'm looking at the shape of South Korea. You know, Son's just is sort of sitting on Eric Lira, just protecting the middle.
Long ball over the top, looking for the run of Son, gets there ahead of the goalkeeper, and it's cleared off the line by Alvarez. Overhead kick to clear it. That was brilliant. It was a race between Son and Raul Rangel. Son got there first, brilliantly played over the goalkeeper, and what a clearance that was by Alvarez off the line. I think he would have been offside anyway, would Son, but Alvarez hadn't got a clue about that. Son had done pretty much everything right, and that was a superb clearance, Charlie.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable effort for Alvarez just to get it off the line, but it's a wonderful ball from So Young Lee, off the shoulder. Son looking to get in behind, and he gets there before Rangel, the goalkeeper, but you know, just went too early. It was similar to the other night when we were commentating on the game when Munoz makes the run off the back of the shoulder, and it was a lovely pass.
South Korea boosted by that. They come down the right. They want a free kick because one of their players has gone down on the far side holding his face. Looked like it was just a genuine coming together between two players, though, as Mexico come away with the ball down their left. It is with Luis Romo at the moment. We've had just over a quarter of an hour in Guadalajara, 0-0. That by far and away the best chance of the game fell to Son, who walked away with an expression on his face as if to say, what more do I have to do to score a goal at this World Cup, with all those chances last week and then a good chance there this week. Edson Alvarez, though, take your hat off. That was superb.
Yeah, it was brilliant defending there, but that threat, I keep talking about that threat. When you get time and space in the ball and you got runners in behind, it causes teams a lot of problems.
Mexico just went long down the right. Offside flag's gone up against Jorge Sanchez, their right back, who had moved forwards. So Mexico 0, South Korea 0. Long ball forwards by South Korea. Can they keep the ball in play on this near side there left? Yes, they can. Good play that time by Lee Jae-sung. And now Son plays the ball infield, trying to return it to Lee Jae-sung. Again, Mexico wise to the situation. Intercept, cut it out. They kept a clean sheet last week. And the way they've set up and the way they've lined up Mexico, they look determined to do the same thing, albeit they're very, very lucky, thanks to that Alvarez clearance, to still have one.
Yeah, they are. They're looking to try and play. It's like, you know, they're just trying to say, play into my feet. But the Lee Handball's just going all the way with him, being aggressive because he knows that he can. He's got the space in behind, he's got people in behind him that can cover. So, yeah, South Korea just waiting. They're trying to protect that ball into the two sort of sixes of Mexico. Son doing a job on the midfielder Eric Lira, and they can't get the ball in between the lines because of that, and then they're forcing them to go long.
Ball back with Mexico goalkeeper Raul Rangel. He goes long down the centre. Raul Rangel made his competitive debut in the opener against South Africa, playing at his home stadium today as he plays for Guadalajara. South Korea with the ball at the moment, back in their possession in their left back area. They go long over halfway, but give it straight to Edson Alvarez, who sends the ball back to where it came from. South Korea try and take charge of the situation. They play the ball back. It's an odd ball because they've just nearly played Quinones in. They're messing about with it on the edge of their own penalty area here. They need to tidy up with Kim Min-jae, the Bayern Munich defender. Takes his time, eventually does so, but it's a poor clearance, and there's a chance here for Mexico because they don't look at all certain at the back, South Korea. If they can just string a few passes together in the final third, they may well be in. It's very, very scrappy as they try and play out from the back, South Korea.
South Korea got a little bit scrappy there. Nobody really wanted to try and get the foot on the ball. You're looking for Hwang Wenbo and Park Sung-ho to try and get control of the game, but they keep turning it over. So the Mexicans are just coming forward. And we've seen this, the more pressure you put on, you know, more chance of getting an opportunity to score.
Alvarado with a cross, and it goes! And that good header by Quinones. Well saved by Kim Seung-ju, because the goalkeeper watched that all the way. It was a brilliantly played cross by Alvarado. Quinones with a faint touch with his head. He was on the penalty spot, and the goalkeeper watched it all the way and made the save. That could have easily fooled the South Korean goalkeeper. Yeah,
it's a wonderful ball from Alvarado. He just cuts back on his left-hand side and the striker gets in between the Lee Hambo and Kim Min-jae, just off the back of them, and he gets a lovely header, and it's a good save for the goalkeeper. But Alvarado's just looking to come back on his left hand side, and it's a great ball from the winger.
Will give Mexico confidence in the final third, because as we've been saying, they've dominated possession, but when it's come to that area of the pitch, they haven't been able to make things click. Very nearly did there. The ball from Alvarado was absolutely brilliant. Quinones very nearly made it 2 goals in 2 games. He scored the first goal of the tournament. Here, Jorge Sanchez, the right back for Mexico, not for the first time miscontrolling the ball, and it goes out for a South Korean throw on the halfway line on this near side, their left. 20 minutes played, 0-0 between the two teams in Guadalajara, but only just. Good chances now for both teams in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, good chances. That was an excellent chance. Good header, but goalkeeper probably made it look, you know, a more acrobatic save than it needed to be. But yeah, the threats there definitely from Mexico.
Were you one of those players who during your day would give a goalkeeper credit when he deserved it? Or
no, I think it's key as a player to give goalkeepers credit when they make big saves or big moments, because you need them. I don't see it enough. I don't see enough players giving the goalkeepers the credit. They are a different bunch, they are a different breed, but they're there to stop it, and when they do make big saves, then it's important that they know about it.
You hear a lot of outfield players say this. The ball's back with the Mexico goalkeeper, by the way, at the moment, Raul Rangel. You hear a lot of players say this. Goalkeepers are a different breed. Just expand slightly.
But it just, for them, they call it a goalkeepers union, don't they? It's us and them, isn't it? And they work differently. They're just, I don't think they're tuned in the same as some players, but you've seen that with some goalkeepers over the years. Some emotional, some really calm, but you have to be a bit loose in the head to be a goalkeeper.
You're listening to failed Sunday League goalkeeper Lee Blakeman, along with Charlie Adam, your commentary team for this game. I
started as a young kid in goals.
Did you really?
Yeah, my first ever game was as a young player, was a goalkeeper.
Would you describe yourself as a different breed?
No, that's why I come out of goals.
Mexico come out of their own half and move forwards with Quinones. He moves it to Luis Romo, tries the ball over the top, looking for Jorge Sanchez, who come forwards from the back. Couldn't make it stick that time, too much on it, and it goes behind for a goal kick, and that will see us to the first hydration break of this game, booed by supporters inside the Guadalajara stadium. Just quickly, Charlie, what have you made of it so far? Starting to come to life now, the game.
Yeah, again, Quinones looks like he's up for it tonight. He's getting on the ball, he's trying to make things happen, but yeah, both teams have had a chance each, and we'll just need that sort of first goal, but Mexico probably been the team that have just been on top of with a bigger chance.
Sports news elsewhere today, if you are just tuning into us on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. So far this evening at the World Cup, the action started in Atlanta in Group A, a late South Africa penalty earning them a 1-1 draw with the Czech Republic. In Group B, Switzerland beat Bosnia and Herzegovina 4-1 in LA, all the goals coming in the final 20 minutes there. And as you've been hearing in the last couple of hours on 5 Live, in Vancouver, co-host Canada thrashing 9-man Qatar 6-0 to all but guarantee their place in the knockout stages, but that game slightly overshadowed by a very serious looking injury to midfielder Ismail Kone. In other football news today, Tottenham have announced the £52 million signing of Dutch defender Jan-Paul van Hecke from Brighton. That, Charlie, by the way, an excellent acquisition for Spurs.
Yeah, excellent acquisition, but again, Brighton, I think they've done a job on Tottenham there. I think it's wonderful transfer fee with only a year to go and getting 20% sell on. It's again, Paul Barber and Tony Bloom done a brilliant job in terms of maximising the transfer fee there. So, but he's a very good player.
And also with it being Brighton and the way they recruit and the way they're run, you would absolutely not put it past them to bring in a replacement almost just as good straight away.
Yeah, again, that's the work that they've been doing for a number of years now, and having the analytics and different ideas of bringing players in. No, they'll have people ready to go for when the next player moves on, and it's been a model for them. It's been so successful so far.
So Tottenham bringing in Van Hecke from Brighton. Elsewhere in football, Liverpool have signed Spanish winger Victor Munoz from Osasuna for £34 million. In cricket, England have work to do in the second test against New Zealand at Trent Bridge. England closing on 222 for 6. They still trail by 169, and it's been reported today that Ben Stokes could return as captain for the third test next week. Stokes is in Durham's squad for their county championship match, which starts later today. And at the Women's T20 World Cup, Scotland suffered a heartbreaking defeat, losing by just 7 runs to the West Indies. Finally, in golf, American Wyndham Clark leads the US Open as the first round draws to a close. He finished on 6 under. Rory McIlroy ended the first round on 1 under. More sports news available right now via the BBC Sport website and app. Hydration break complete. Goalkeeper for South Korea, Kim Seung-ju, will get the game restarted. In Guadalajara, it's Mexico 0, South Korea 0. Ball goes out for a South Korea throw, level with the edge of the Mexican penalty area, taken quickly, and it's worked back to this near side to Seol Young-woo. Ball goes out into touch for another throw into South Korea, this time to be taken, or it's going to be taken by Lee Ji-yuk quickly, but he decides to leave it for a teammate. Interesting to see what kind of impact the hydration break has here, because this game was just starting to come to life before it was paused.
Yeah, the Mexicans were just starting to get on top of it on the game, and that's what I said. Sometimes as a coach, it's a good thing, this hydration thing, because you can get some tactical details, and if you're under a bit of pressure, you could take the sort of sting out of the game. But if you're on top and you're keeping momentum, then it maybe comes away from you. So these are when the game changes and the swings, but it's really important that you get good tactical details, and we've seen that some of the coaches have with this hydration has made a huge difference in terms of how the teams reacted after that, with just small details, because it's very difficult as a coach when you're in these crowds or in the stadiums to actually hear what your players are thinking or actually saying, or what you're saying to them. So it's nice to get them in and be able to do it. But for me, I'm not a big fan of it, but it's the way the World Cup is.
If you are one of those people, by the way, who's personally assessing things on a game-by-game basis, whether we should have a break based on the temperature, at kick-off it was 26 degrees as we kicked off 7 p.m. in Guadalajara. So when you're talking about the need for a hydration break...
I totally get it, but what again is like, you know, England played in a closed roof the other night. Absolutely. And they had hydration break, but everybody's saying yeah, but it needs to be done because everybody has to be the same. So I get it, and it's hot, so if we either do it, everybody does it, which they are doing.
The cynic in me would also say everybody needs to do it for 3 minutes so that certain American broadcasters can do advertising as well.
Well, there's a possibility.
At the same time.
But what chances do you bring it to the UK? Because the Premier League would kick, you know.
You do wonder, don't you? You do wonder if trends get set. The ball goes out for a South Korean throw on the far side. They're right, on the halfway line. Kim Moon-hwan takes it. Ball goes all the way through to goalkeeper Raul Rangel for Mexico. Mexico, the first country, by the way, to stage games at 3 World Cups. They made the last 8 in the previous 2 that they hosted in 1970 and 1986. Win tonight, and they're guaranteed a place in the knockout stages, as are South Korea if they can beat Mexico in Guadalajara. Mexico have the ball at the moment with Alvarado inside his own half, plays it over the top. South Korea defend well, and they get the ball forwards here. They've got it with Hwang In-byong in the midfield. Chipped ball over the top, chested down. Opportunity here if it will fall kindly for Seol Young-woo. It didn't, and the offside flag went up anyway that time. Lee Jae-sung at the heart of the action there, but that official over on the far side, he's keen with his flag, but he's getting all of these decisions, marginal ones, spot on.
Yeah, but again, it's Alvarez. His mentality and his mindset is he's thinking about being a midfielder, not being a defender. There's time on the ball, he needs to drop, but actually he's trying to jump into the attacking player in front of him. But it's a lovely run from Lee Jae-sung and he just got offside. But that's the run they're trying to do, get off the back of Alvarez.
Mexico do well to win the ball in the midfield. Eric Lira comes away with it, and now Gutierrez is on the ball. He goes back to Vasquez, Johan Vasquez, the centre-half.
Mexico had a lot of the ball, but in areas just, you know, they'll just play it in front of South Korea. They've not really had that quality at the top end of the pitch, but it's really important. They've had the ball, but they've not done enough with it yet. I think South Korea have actually been looking more dangerous when they've had the ball, looking to play in behind, getting runners in behind as well.
It's one of those games as Mexico sending a cross here, looking for the head of Jimenez, just a little bit too deep, that cross. Jimenez will do well to keep the ball in play on this near side. He does, though. And now here's Alvarado, right side of the midfield. It's one of those games, this, where you'll see the possession stats. Mexico was 61% to the 39% that South Korea have had, but it then begs the question, with that 61%, how many meaningful passes have Mexico made? And you're probably looking at 6 or 7, something like that, as the ball goes back to their goalkeeper Raul Rangel, who was closed down very quickly. I think he thought he had more time than he actually had. Eventually gets it downfield. Offside flag goes up against Alvarado. Goalkeeper very nearly caught in possession there.
Yeah, it was brilliant pressing from Son. That's what we know about him. He wants to be aggressive. He just set his moment. He got into the centre back. Vasquez, that was his trigger. He got after him, he went straight to the goalkeeper, and he made the goalkeeper kick it long, and Alvarado was offside. But you know, that's what Son does. He goes and presses, he hunts, and he's very good at that.
Just past the half-hour mark in Guadalajara, 7:30 local time, 2:30 across the UK. You're listening to 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Goalless between Mexico and South Korea. South Korea play a long ball over the top, and not for the first time. The offside flag's gone up. Son will continue, though, forces the save out of the goalkeeper. The flag had gone up very, very early from that same official who's got all of these marginal calls, as we said a few moments ago. Spot on so far. And here the replay will tell us that he's by far and away got this latest one spot on.
Yeah, he's spot on with it, but again, it's lazy defending from Alvarado. He's in that full-back position as a winger, and he switches off. Body shape's all wrong, he's all square, and the winger of South Korea runs off the back of him, but he gets away with it there. But that's the threat there for South Korea, that ball in behind.
It's Charlie Adam, 26 caps for Scotland, formerly of Rangers, Blackpool, Liverpool and Stoke City, amongst other football clubs, as Mexico play a long ball forwards, looking for the run of Gutierrez, but it carries all the way through to the South Korean goalkeeper Kim Seong-ju. Back with Laura McGee at half-time in this game in Guadalajara, just to get the latest, if there is any latest news from the Makerfield by-election. As soon as we get a result, we'll bring it to you here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. As South Korea hit it long, goalkeeper kicking the ball out of his hands, too much on that. Both sets of supporters. I mentioned earlier that the South Korean supporters weren't too happy with their head coach coming into the tournament. They weren't too happy with the style of play. Mexico's fans actually booed recently in goalless draws against Uruguay and Portugal, as they were unhappy with the playing style of their team. Their head coach is leaving at the end of the tournament. It hasn't been the prettiest watch so far.
No, it's not been a free-flowing game, but there's been moments of quality. There's been times where, you know, both teams could do better with the ball, but you know, it's a World Cup game. It's an edgy moment. It's a big game, especially for the Mexicans at home. The crowd are starting to boo because there's no pressure on the ball, and now they actually go and win it back. But yeah, I just feel that there's sometimes you've got to understand where these players are at. You can't dominate every game, not at the highest level. You don't dominate. Teams have moments in the game, and it's important that you deal with that. But it's tough as a supporter. You want the best for your country, and you want them to be, you know, the best at every action. But sometimes it doesn't work like that.
That's worth bearing in mind, right? Certainly if you're a Mexican player here, you are playing for Mexico in a World Cup that your country is hosting in front of nearly 50,000 supporters here. They're human. At times they will struggle to turn it on.
Exactly that, and that's what I'm saying, is so there's more pressure on them, there's more pressure on the Americans, the Canadians obviously playing at home, and it's how you handle that. And like I say, we know some of the players from the UK and how they are emotionally at times. Alvarez is someone, when he was playing at West Ham, he's an emotional player. He's a midfielder that can be aggressive. I've seen sometimes of his actions tonight so far, but yeah, it's so difficult playing at home in a World Cup for your national team, it takes a lot out of you.
Because if it was you playing for Scotland, it'd be completely different playing in Mexico as the ball goes all the way through to the South Korean goalkeeper again. It'd be completely different for you playing in Guadalajara in Mexico, for example, for Scotland, than it would be playing at Hampden.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, that's that's how you have to understand where they're at. Yeah, you talk about the boys, the Scotland boys now, we talk about they see the pitches back at home, how everybody's enjoying it in that moment. But can you imagine being at Hampden or Celtic Park or Ibrox, playing, trying to qualify for a major tournament or getting to the next stage? So much pressure.
And the pressure at times does tell. Mexico have tried their best in this game. As we said a few moments ago, we said it a couple of times actually, they've dominated possession. It's just been in the final third, as now, where they're struggling to make it click. Eric Lira with a high ball over the top that time, which carries through to goalkeeper Kim Sung-ju. No side has played more games at a World Cup without winning one than Mexico. 61 games now, 62. No trophy to show for it. It's going to be a big ask for them to win a trophy this time around, just with the quality that we've seen from certain teams so far. We are 10 minutes away from half-time, goalless in Guadalajara between Mexico and South Korea. South Korea just passing the ball around inside their own half at the moment as they dribble the ball out from the back and carry it over the halfway line, looking for the run of Lee Ji-yuk to the left, but they decide to go infield instead, do South Korea here. It falls for Son to the left of centre, 25 yards out. Lee Ji-yuk guides the ball infield again here, and now Son in the thick of the action. Lee Jae-sung is up there as well. Son goes back down the line, and now Lee Ji-yuk once more playing lovely triangle passing football here, South Korea, but not really going anywhere with it at the moment as they're forced back to Bayern Munich's Kim Min-jae inside the centre circle. Kim Min-jae started 23 of Bayern Munich's 60 games last season as they won the double in Germany. Hwang In-byeon for South Korea in the midfield. Good spell of passing football this, in a game where the passing has been dominated by Mexico. Ball work to this near side. Lee Kang-in, who's on a yellow card, plays the 1-2. You can hear the boos from the Mexican supporters. They want possession back ASAP, and South Korea just enjoying a good spell.
Yeah, absolutely, but it's so difficult for the Mexicans to get out because they're falling into a sort of 5-4-1, so they can't get any pressure on the ball. It looks like, because the South Koreans are playing 4 at the top end of the pitch, so they're looking to have that overload at the top end. Mexico in the back line, so they're having the 5. The Alvarado's coming playing as a full-back, and then you've got Jorge Sanchez playing as like a third centre-back. So there's no pressure on the ball, and then all of a sudden it feels like South Korea have had a lot of the ball, but they're actually doing nothing with it. So, you know, that's just it's good shape, waiting on it, and South Korea have done it the opposite way, where they're pressing sort of 5-2-3. So no, there's different ways to press the game, and ultimately you set yourself a trigger, or you set somebody within the back line, or a certain player that you look to try and press when he gets on the ball. So good shape, good organisation from the Mexicans, but again, like you talk about the home crowd, they want more from them. They want them to be more aggressive, they want them to be on the front foot more, but at the moment they're not doing that.
And at the end of that passing move by South Korea, which must have had nearly 40 passes in it, by the way, they end up winning a free kick for a foul inside their own half of the field, which they're about to take on the far side, their right. Loads of World Cup coverage tomorrow on 5 Live and BBC Sounds as we build up to that big game at 11 o'clock between Scotland and Morocco. Rick Edwards and Stefan Powell with 5 Live breakfast from 6. Rick live from Los Angeles. Steve Crossman brings breakfast in America from Boston tomorrow between 1 and 3. First game, USA against Australia. Then it's all about Scotland from 11 against Morocco. The next 2 live games here on BBC Radio 5 Live. South Korea still with the ball inside their own half at the moment. 6.5 minutes to go until half-time in Guadalajara. No goals. one serious chance apiece so far. We saw Edson Alvarez with an acrobatic clearance off the line, and then we saw Quinones go close with a header. Good cross in from the right by Alvarado. Quinones flicked header, but the goalkeeper for South Korea, Kim Seung-ju, was more than equal to it. That's been about your lot when it comes to serious goal-mouth action so far. Here South Korea have won a throw though. Mexico clearing sideways. South Korea throw 25 yards from the corner flag on this near side, to be taken by Seol Young-woo. He goes back to the halfway line, to the Bayern Munich man Kim Min-jae.
Yeah, again, Mexico going man for man, really trying to be really aggressive in the sort of press when they can. Centre-back stepping into midfield, because what's happening is that the two number 6s are trying to lock on to South Korea's midfielders, but there's two players in behind them, so that means that the two centre-backs of, you know, Sanchez is obviously the right full-back, but he's playing as the third centre-back, and then Johan Vasquez is trying to deal with a midfielder that's in the pocket. So really, really front-footed in terms of what they're trying to do, but it's really important that South Korea look to try and play set back through and then try and spin in behind, like the couple of opportunities they've had.
Hwang In-beom with the ball over the top for South Korea. Can it be kept in play over on the far side? Such has been the way in this game. Of course it can't, and it goes straight out into touch for a throw. South Korea's best finish at a World Cup was the one they co-hosted back in 2002. They made the semi-finals, lost to Germany. It's a World Cup that's really special for me because I'm that young. I can remember watching that in school. There were certain games where they put it on the TV in the school hall early in the morning. Such was the difference in the kickoff times. As South Korea try a through ball here, opportunity, and it's scuffed by Seol Young-woo as he burst into the penalty area left side, well wide of the target, and it will be a goal kick to Mexico. That was a clear sight at goal, or as clear a sight at goal as we've seen in this very dull game so far.
Yeah, again, it's in Alvarado, in between Alvarado and Sanchez, the sort of winger playing full back. He's not tracked his run of Seol Young-woo, and it was a decent enough chance, just never really connected with it on his left hand side.
Seol Young-woo, regular right back for South Korea for the last 2 years. Well, actually linked with a move to Sheffield United last season. Nothing came of that, and now South Korea will come down the centre with Son, who needs no introduction whatsoever. A little bit of space to move into as he plays the ball to Kim Moon-hwan down the right. Through ball, Hwang In-beom, who got the opening goal in South Korea's first game last Thursday, wins his side a throw in 12 yards from the corner flag over on the far side. He's the engine in that South Korean midfield. He struggled to get firing so far in this game, but whenever he has the ball himself, he's not looked too bad. Just one attempt on target we've just seen in this game so far. That was the one that went the way of Mexico. Yeah,
I think I'd say that after the sort of that hydration break, I think South Korea have actually grown into the game. They've had more of the ball. They've tried to keep it better. They've had sort of half chances again. It's that run from out to in. And that pass from the midfielder of Lee Kang-yen, he's looking for that ball over the top all the time. It's a very good pass if he can play it. And I think South Korea, sort of this back end of the first half, have played really well. Son cutting in from the left on his right foot, 25 yards out. Moves the ball in field. It's picked up by Lee Ji-yuk. Is there an opening goal in this game in the final 2.5 minutes plus stoppage time in the first half in Guadalajara? South Korea with the ball, with the man we were just talking about there, Hwang In-beom, wearing shirt number 6, moving sideways at the moment. Such is the way that Mexico have set up, so well organised, very, very difficult to break down. South Korea having a job doing that at the moment. It's on this near side with the South Korean number 8, the Birmingham City man, Paik Chung-ho. He works the ball in field, and again South Korea just stopped in their stride. They just hit a big black shirted wall that Mexico have been able to build. Hwang In-beom has got it on the halfway line here, but it looks like it's going to be a game which needs half time just so everybody can regroup, reset and go again. Yeah, again, the two centre-backs of South Korea are actually controlling the game with it. Jimenez doesn't want to press, he's just looking to come off the game. And now the opposite centre-back just stepping in the ball. The space is on the opposite side, so again, looking to build one side. Can you finish on the opposite? And then they'll get the overload there if they actually see it. But no, I said it before, I think, let's say their last 10-15 minutes, South Korea have had the most possession, and it seems like they're starting to grow and they're doing well. And just need to show that little bit of final bit of quality at the top end to really hurt the Mexicans.
Son on the attack for South Korea, moves the ball to his right. Shot's going to come in from distance here. Good block by the Mexican centre-half, Johan Vasquez. South Korea have the ball back in the midfield. High ball to the right. Son will try and bring it down over on the far side, but it's cleared by the left-back Gallardo. Ball to the edge of the centre circle. Final minute of the first 45 in Guadalajara. No goals as South Korea pick up the ball in the centre circle. Hwang In-beom goes back to the back three behind him and then receives the ball back. Back with Laura McGee at half-time shortly on 5 Live and BBC Sound. South Korea awarded a free kick here.
So it's really important when it goes in there and Sanchez actually tries to jump with Lee Jang-sung, that it's important that Sol Young-wo can actually run between the Alvarado and Alvarez there, because the space is so big. It's like 20-22 yards between right centre back and the sort of right wing back, and that's the moment when he needs to run in between.
South Korea on the attack down the right. Early cross goes in, and Lee Jae-sung on the slide on the 6 yards line, very nearly got there, stuck out his left foot, just couldn't quite get a toe on it, as the fourth official on this near side indicates 4 minutes to be added on at the end of the first half. And just looking at the replay, he was so close there, Lee Jae-sung, to getting that decisive touch.
Yeah, it's a wonderful ball in from Lee Han-bo. Boom, he whips it in between two centre backs, and the Lee Sang-young just dives at it and just get probably a yard too late, but it was a lovely ball in from the sort of right centre back there, playing the top end of the pitch.
Just been told the instructions for the end of the half, a very quick wrap up, and then we'll hand back to Laura McGee. Trust me, it'll be the quickest wrap in the history of football. Not too much to say about the first 45 in Guadalajara, hoping for much better in the second half. But the way it's been this first half, there's been so little in the way of entertainment. I'm ready for our own personal hydration break, I think, Charlie.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But again, looking at it again, Mexico started the game really well, which you'd expect. But I think South Korea have growing into the game, looking to make things happen. And what they have done is they've had sort of little bits of moments where they've created chances, but not had that final real bit of quality. But they nearly scored there, and I think if you're South Korea's manager, you'd be very happy in how your team's performed so far.
Yeah, certainly as the game has ticked by, as you were saying a few moments ago, since the hydration break, those are the ones, South Korea, who've taken the game to the opposition. Mexico have just been happy to just sit back and just take the pressure that the opposition have thrown at them, and haven't really offered anything in the second half of this first half themselves.
No, but South Korea have done similar, where they've went into a sort of 5-2-3 looking to press, but they've waited for their moments. Jimenez at the moment, he's chasing around on his own, and he can't get near anybody, so it's just allowing South Korea to dominate the ball. And where Son's been clever when he's actually picking his moment to press, and everybody's going with him. At the moment, Jimenez is going on his own, he's just getting picked off.
A little bit of nonsense involving Eric Lira and Lee Kang-in. Referees just had to intercept there. As I say, the word nonsense, perfect to describe what was going on there. Just a little bit of nothing between the two players. Referee breaks it up, and we can continue as South Korea moves forwards. 90 seconds of stoppage time remaining. Guadalajara, no goals between Mexico and South Korea, with both teams actually knowing that a win will guarantee them a place in the knockout stages. Now South Korea very nearly lost the ball across their back three there. That would have allowed Quinones to break away down the centre and play in Jimenez, who's looking so frustrated. The Mexican number 9 up top, formerly of Fulham, recently returned to Wolves. He has had no service whatsoever, and he's just looking a very lonely, isolated figure up top at the moment.
Yeah, again, look just there, Lee Kang-in just overhit his pass, but he's the one that's looking, trying to make things happen in the middle of the pitch on his left foot, lovely left foot, trying to get on the ball and make things happen for South Korea. And he's the one that started to sort of dominate that midfield position at the moment.
It's Charlie Adam with us here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds as the ball's back with Raul Rangel, the all-green wearing Mexican goalkeeper. white gloves on. They've not got dirty at all in this first 45. He's had a very quiet first half as the ball goes out into touch for a throw into Mexico in their left back area, and that should be just about that for the first half, hoping for much better in the second half. We have seen some of these games. We saw one earlier, actually, Switzerland against Bosnia-Herzegovina. Nothing happened in that game until the 74th minute at all, and then it ended up finishing 4-1 in Switzerland's favour. So it could all change later. Plenty of goals in the Canada game, if you are just waking up, by the way. They beat Qatar 6-0. Qatar finishing that match with 9 men. Here we have reached half-time. Thank goodness for that, because it's been one of the poorest games of the tournament so far. And the supporters agree. You can hear lots of booing inside the Guadalajara Stadium. Not happy, the Mexican fans, with what's being served up in the first 45.
No, the South Koreans have they've sort of grown into the game, and the back end of the hydration, they've dominated the game and been excellent.
Half-time, Laura, it has to get better in the second half, surely. Mexico 0, South Korea 0.
Hopefully, Lee. Thank you very much, Lee. Thank you very much, Charlie. Yes, a pretty uneventful first half there. I would love to bring you some of the highlights. Usually we like to bring you a couple of clips of the goals, but unfortunately there haven't been any, and there doesn't seem to have been too many highlights so far. So fingers crossed it will get better. Mexico 0, South Korea 0. We are going to be bringing you the result of the Makerfield by-election very, very shortly. We're being told that the declaration is imminent. I'm watching the screens right now, and I can see all of the candidates standing together just left of the stage. So they will be walking up onto that stage very, very shortly. For the time being, just before we do get the result and we will go live to it, let me bring you the latest news headlines.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The voice of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
The BBC News on 5 Live. The US Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth has announced a review of America's relationship with its NATO allies, saying some need to do more when it comes to defence spending and that too many of them had failed to support America in Iran. The United States and Iran have signed an agreement aimed at ending their war. The Memorandum of Understanding agreement includes the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz and Iran having access to funds for their rebuilding efforts. Girls who have been vaccinated against HPV now have a close to zero risk of dying from cervical cancer before the age of 30, according to a new study published in The Lancet. And the Culture Secretary, Lisa Nandy, has told the Commons she's not satisfied with Channel 4's response after allegations of rape and sexual assault were made by women who appeared on Married at First Sight UK to the BBC's Panorama programme. Ms Nandy said she would be discussing the issue further with Channel 4 in the coming weeks. OK, as we were hearing there, it ended between Canada and Qatar. Canada 6, Qatar 0 at the World Cup. And on 5 Live, we've been bringing you commentary of Mexico versus South Korea. 0-0 at half-time for that one. We'll look at the rest of the sports now. Here is Harry Roy.
Switzerland have taken a major stride towards the knockout stages of the World Cup after a 4-1 win over 10-man Bosnia and Herzegovina in Group B. 20-year-old Johan Manzambi played a key role as he came off the bench to score 2 and set up another. Elsewhere at the World Cup, a late penalty secured South Africa a 1-1 draw with the Czech Republic, which keeps alive both sides' hopes of qualification from Group A. Staying with football, Tottenham have completed the £52 million signing of Netherlands defender Jan-Paul van Hecke from Brighton, and Liverpool have confirmed the signing of winger Victor Munoz from Osasuna after triggering his £34.5 million release clause. Now, to cricket, Ben Stokes could return as the England captain for next week's third test against New Zealand at Trent Bridge. Stokes and Gus Atkinson are being investigated for breaking England's midnight curfew during a nightclub incident in London, but the process is nearing a resolution that could clear both players to return. There is a growing likelihood that Stokes, who is set to play county cricket for Durham this weekend, will be back to lead his country in Nottingham. On the topic of England, they're on the ropes after day 2 of the second test against New Zealand at the Oval. At stumps, they are 222 for 6 in reply to New Zealand's 391 all out. And in Super League, Leeds Rhinos won their top-of-the-table clash against the Warrington Wolves by a convincing 34-6 scoreline.
Hi, this is Ellis James. It's the middle of the night. You've just been following a World Cup match. Now you can't sleep because your body clock is all over the place. Well, we've got a playlist for that. Hear people like me and Kelly Cates calmly reading scorelines from historic World Cups over soothing music.
Austria 1, Sweden 0.
Just search Sleep Goals in BBC Sounds.
The voice of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
With Laura McGee.
Good morning. It is coming up to 5 minutes to 3. We are hoping to bring you live coverage of the results of the Makerfield by-election. I'm looking at the screen right now. I can see the candidates have lined up beside the stage. They are waiting to go up. I can see Andy Burnham there. He was earlier speaking to fellow candidate Count Binface after arriving at the Makerfield by-election. The announcement of the result is due literally any minute now. Let me just bring you an update on what's happened elsewhere in the country. There was a hefty winning margin for the Conservatives in Aberdeen South. Douglas Lumsden won the Aberdeen South with a majority of more than 6,000 votes. Meanwhile, the SNP's Lara Bird has won the Arbroath and Broughty Ferry by-election. Interesting about the Conservatives winning in Aberdeen South, that was the seat held by the SNP's Stephen Flynn, who was the MP there before winning a seat in the Scottish Parliament earlier on this year. So an interesting result there. You can listen to the BBC Sounds live news audio stream for ongoing coverage, and we will bring you more on this at full time as well. Of course, this is a very important by-election. In fact, Chris Mason, our editor, was talking about it earlier as being the most important by-election that he has ever witnessed in his lifetime. It's important because the by-election was triggered by the resignation of Labour MP Josh Simons. Labour's Andy Burnham is trying to return to Westminster. If he wins, he's expected to challenge Keir Starmer for the Labour leadership. A result is expected very, very soon. They are still standing at the side of the stage, all the candidates, smiling, talking to one another. The turnout was interesting. The official turnout for the by-election was 58.75%. with around 45,510 votes being cast. Very interesting. There was much conversation about how big that turnout was going to be. In fact, the general thought was that if the turnout was over 60%, that actually it would be bad news for Labour, potentially good news for Reform UK. And we will have to wait and see the results of that and whether or not that is true. Baroness Smith of Labour had been previously telling the BBC she's encouraged by the turnout following the official confirmation. She said that they've managed to get many Labour voters to go out and it's made the difference. That could be good news for them. Reform's Danny Kruger, however, referred to earlier remarks by Sir John Curtis, who's been part of the BBC News coverage over the past few hours with Laura Koonsberg on BBC One television. Sir John Curtis has said that high turnouts occur in by-elections when there is an insurgent party, and that is potentially what is happening now. It will be interesting to see the result of that. I'm really hoping to be able to bring you that during half-time of the Mexico-South Korea game. In terms of the results in Scotland, it's been a long time since the Tories have won a Westminster by-election in Scotland. The last time was 1967. According to James Cook, Scotland editor, that was the year the Beatles released Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. So, a long time ago, indeed. Very, very, always good to get a little bit of trivia when it comes to some of these by-elections. Makes it sometimes a little bit more interesting, doesn't it? So yes, we are looking ahead to the result of the Makerfield by-election. We've been hearing from Alex Wilson, according to Laura Koonsberg, says Reform UK is signalling through Alex Wilson, who represents the party in the London Assembly, that they are expecting to lose to Labour in Makerfield. So that's come via Laura Koonsberg, who's part of the coverage of this by-election on BBC One. You can obviously tune into that if you're wanting live coverage of that. When Andy Burnham showed up to the hall, cheers erupted. A bit of a hero's welcome, according to Harry Farley, political correspondent who's at the Makerfield count. Labour, according to Harry, feeling very confident that they have won this. They are, according to an unofficial estimate, Labour sources are looking at a 54% vote for Andy Burnham. And Louise Haig, who is in the heart of Andy Burnham's campaign, she's close to him, has been integral to the field operation in the towns that make up the constituency over the last few months. She publicly on television said that she was quietly confident, a number of hours ago, really, showing just how confident that Labour are, that they think that they have won. Really interesting, some of the news that's coming out of Aberdeen, the Aberdeen South by-election, Douglas Lumsden's election to Westminster as the MP there, will mean that he'll have to give up the Holyrood seat he won just 6 weeks ago. So new dual mandate rules prevent him sitting in the House of Commons and the Scottish Parliament at the same time. So he must resign as an MSP within 49 days. But another by-election won't be required for people that are sick of more by-elections. Don't worry, there won't be another one. As a list MSP, his seat will be taken up by the next person on the Conservatives' North East Scotland list, who would be Fraserburgh councillor James Adams, who was spotted in the front row at that by-election, applauding the Tory victory. Speaking to the BBC News at the count, James Adams said he would stand up for the people of North East Scotland. So if you are just joining us on BBC Radio 5 Live, thank you very much. It is now 1 minute past 3. We are waiting for the results of the Makerfield by-election, which is imminent, according to our sources on the ground in Wigan. We are waiting for it because it's a vote that's been closely watched across the political world, with Andy Burnham seeking a return to Westminster in a contest that could have major implications for the direction of the Labour Party. The candidates are standing just to the side of the stage. I can see Count Binface, who's obviously quite noticeable, standing there. Obviously, if you've never seen Count Binface, he is someone standing with a bin on their head. They're now just cutting to shots of, I would say, quite a happy-looking Andy Burnham, if I was to presume anything. The candidates are just standing to the side of the stage. Let us now just take some live coverage of what is going on here on the BBC.
Yeah, they're on. The mic's on now.
Phones for the announcement. We are still waiting for that announcement. They're up at the microphone, up at the lectern, talking about it at this moment in time. You know what will happen? I am now going to bring in Paul Serras, our sports journalist, who, of course, has been watching what has been happening in tonight's game, Mexico versus South Korea. But you know, Paul, as soon as I ask you any question...
Count Binface is going to be the new MP for Makerfield, possibly.
well, you said that, not me.
But sorry, I thought that was what was he not the favourite? Sorry. I've been watching the football, Laura.
You've been otherwise engaged. And Paul, we will, for the time being, let's talk a little bit about what's going on, what's been happening in the Mexico versus South Korea game.
Well, the complete opposite to what I said before the match, Laura, which was that we were expecting an excellent game between these two, and really not a great deal has happened. Although it's quite similar in the way that the first half has played out to the opening match of the tournament for South Korea. If you remember, they played against the Czech Republic, and they grew into that first half as well. They were under real pressure early on, but as they approached half-time, they didn't really want the half-time break against the Czech Republic, and they didn't want it this evening either, because they were really growing into that game against Mexico. But the only effort on target in that whole first 45 minutes was from Julian Quiñones, who got that opening goal of the tournament for Mexico in that opening match. So not a huge amount has happened, but I can see that they're just about ready to get underway for the second half here, Laura. So I'll pass that one back to you. Hopefully we're in for a better 45 minutes than we got before the break.
Fingers crossed, Paul. I know we've not had much time to talk to you, but I guess there's not been too many highlights to talk about. So maybe that's fitting. Thank you so much, sports reporter, journalist there, Paul Serras. Right, let us hand you back to Lee Blakeman and Charlie Adam. Gentlemen, you know what's going to happen as soon as I cross back to you. Yes, the candidates are walking on for the Makerfield by-election, but that's just live radio, I guess. Hello, Lee. Hello, Charlie.
Hello, Laura. Just give us a shout. I'll be straight back with you. The second half has just got underway in Guadalajara. Mexico have started brightly as they've just worked the ball up towards Luis Romo. He's dispossessed, and South Korea will clear the ball. If the second half is anything like the first half was, you won't miss much when we do go for that Makerfield by-election announcement. Because, as Paul was just indicating there, talking to Laura at the end of the half-time break, Charlie Adam, it has to get better than just the one effort on target that we got in the first half.
Yeah, the only way is up, Lee. But, it's a really important still game this for both teams, getting the opportunity. Whoever wins tonight can automatically qualify from this group. And, that's what's at stake right now. And I think that's what the coach will be saying. Mexico will be happy with how they started, and South Korea will be delighted how they finished the half, because they started to dominate real in the end, and now the breaks come. It'll be interesting to see how both teams react to what to do second half.
I'll run through the two lineups for you in the next few minutes. Laura spent the half-time interval waiting for that Makerfield by-election announcement. We spent the half-time interval moaning about the quality of the first half in Guadalajara, but hopefully it is going to be a much better game in the second half as South Korea come away with the ball down the centre. They run into Mexican traffic that time, and Mexico dispossess them in the midfield, and will look to get moving quickly with Eric Lira. Just puts his foot on the ball. Loads of supporters. There were loads of boos at the end of the first half. Such was the quality of the game, certainly from the Mexican supporters. And just looking around the Guadalajara stadium, so many yet to take their seats, Charlie, which kind of says it all, really. They've just stayed away and they're enjoying some half-time refreshments.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's more excitement inside the underneath the stadium than there is on the pitch. But the Mexicans, they made their voices heard, and they weren't happy with that first half performance. But again, we talked about the coach was under pressure, and that performance didn't give him any help.
I think there's been more excitement in this commentary area than there's been on the pitch in the first 45. To run through the Mexican team for you, neither manager, by the way, has made any changes at half-time, which has come as somewhat of a surprise. 4-1-2-3 is the formation of Mexico. They go with Raul Rangel in goal, Jorge Sanchez, West Ham's Edson Alvarez, Johan Vasquez and Jesus Gallardo make up the back four. Eric Lira sits as the one just in front of them. Then it's a two of Luis Romo and Brian Gutierrez, and the forward three, who's been kept largely quiet in this game so far, Roberto Alvarado alongside the two people who scored, Raul Jimenez and Julian Quiñones, as Mexico burst forwards down the left with Gallardo into the penalty area left side. Angle was always going to be against him because of good defending by Lee Hanbyom. He was forced wide, Gallardo, and his shot therefore went into the side of the net, the wrong side.
Yeah, it was good play. Gallardo actually starts the move by stepping out with the ball, and then played the pass into Jimenez and got the deflection, and he's got to go back across the goalkeeper. He goes near post, and it goes to the side netting. But it was good play from Mexico. Gallardo starting it and now nearly finishing it.
just got a replay from the point of view of the referee cam, which I've loved at this World Cup in 2026. It makes you realise how fast some of these referees are, as Quinones very nearly gets played in down the left that time, miscontrolled the ball, should have done much better. Instead, it goes out for a South Korean throw in their right back area. It's been one of the things, like lots of people have been talking about the hydration breaks as we were in the first half. The referee view is something I could stick with more in the Premier League.
No, again, I've really enjoyed that, and I thought for the World Cup it was different in the Premier League, but the national anthems, everybody round the centre circle has been brilliant to watch as well. So small things, some positives to take away from it. I think it's been a good tournament. I like what's been happening in the small little things, but yeah, definitely that ref cam has been something to watch, and some of the goals in that, just being behind it, it's been incredible.
Quinones for Mexico with the cross in towards Raúl Jiménez. Ball balloons up into the air. Goalkeeper comes, drops in, and it's put in, and Mexico are in front. Luis Romo has got the goal. Goalkeeper Kim Seong-ju came a long way to claim the ball. He dropped it on the penalty spot, and Romo was there to stroke it in from 12 yards, and Mexico lead in Guadalajara. They're on their way to 2 wins out of 2 at the start of the World Cup. Mexico 1, South Korea 0.
Yeah, the goals come from nothing. It's just a hopeful ball into the box. Goalkeeper comes for it, and he drops it. He actually hits off the head of the defender, and it drops in perfect position from Luis Romo, just in the right place at the right time, and it falls to him, and he puts it in the back of the net. But there's nothing in it. Nothing in it. Goalkeeper's got to deal with it. It's a high ball. Jimenez heads it. Goalkeeper comes rushing out, and he drops it. Yeah, drops it off the back of Lee Ji-hyuk, and drops straight to Romo, and he finishes it well.
Well, that's it. The goalkeeper wants a free kick, but he actually ran into his own player, so that's never going to happen. The goal will stand. Mexico 1, South Korea 0. We're going to leave it there just for a second, and we're going to go for some breaking news from Laura McGee. Laura.
Yeah, we have just received the result of the Makerfield by-election with 24,937 votes. Labour's Andy Burnham has won the Makerfield by-election. Reform in second with 15,696. Following the Mexico-South Korea second half, we will bring you the reaction of Andy Burnham following his win. You can listen to BBC Sound's live news audio stream for ongoing coverage.
Thank you, Laura. So Laura with the update there. Andy Burnham winning in Makerfield by almost 10,000, just looking at those numbers there from Reform in second, as Laura was just telling us. BBC News website and app, the place to go right now. And as Laura says, much more to come on 5 Live and BBC Sounds after this game, which, Charlie, has come to life 5 minutes into the second half. Now it's going to be interesting to see if South Korea can come from behind to win for the second game in a row.
Yeah, they need to try and go again. They just have to relax, because I thought they finished the first half really well, and it's just a poor effort from the goalkeeper. It's a bad mistake from him, and now it's time for South Korea to bounce back from it.
Mexico come on the attack again. Referee's seen something that he doesn't like. In fact, it's a flag from his assistant over on the far side for offside against Gutierrez, and it will be a free kick to South Korea, who line up in front of Kim Seong-ju, their goalkeeper. They go 3-4-3. Lee Han-byom, Kim Min-jae of Bayern Munich, and Lee Ji-hyuk are the 3 defenders. Seol Young-woo plays wide right. Kim Moon-hwan wide left. Hwang In-byom, who got their equaliser against Czech Republic in the first game, is in the midfield alongside Birmingham City's Paik Seung-ho, with the forward 3 being PSG's Lee Kang-in, Mainz's Lee Jae-sung, and a man who needs no introduction, kept quiet though in the first half, Los Angeles FC's these days, Son Heung-min, was kept very quiet. Certainly wasn't last week against the Czech Republic when he could have had 3 or 4, but the way that Mexico have defended and set up, they've absolutely done a number on Son so far, and they need to find a way of breaking down this stubborn-looking Mexican side now.
Yeah, the Mexicans, they sort of dropped into that back 5, 2 and 3 at the top end of the pitch to try and nullify that sort of run. That's where first half, that's where Son was making a lot of space. He was running off the back of Alvarez a lot, and he had some moments there. So no, they just dropped back into a back 5, no problem, allowing South Korea to have the ball. So it gives that extra defensive cover when when South Korea have got sort of 4 at the top end of the pitch. You've got that +1 to be able to deal with it.
I did South Korea's game, which was the second game of the tournament in the early hours of last Friday, and so far this game here has followed a very, very similar pattern. Not much to report in the first half. Second half came to life early on when the Czech Republic scored, and then South Korea ended up coming from behind to win 2-1. So far, we're on track. I mentioned that stat in the first half. 14 of South Korea's last 15 goals at World Cups have come in the second halves of matches. So maybe apart from conceding the goal, that dull first half was part of the game plan, but they are now going to have to come out of their shells a little bit.
It's definitely not part of the game plan. But what I'm saying is that what the Mexicans will know is that they'll know that record that they've scored in, second half. They'll come back from it. So the adversity of going a goal behind won't affect the South Koreans. They'll keep going and they'll keep probing. They'll look to try and hurt the Mexicans, and the Mexican players need to be on it. They need to be organised, they need to be disciplined. Just see the coach there now telling them to calm down a little bit and get a shape, get an organisation, and then press from that.
Mexico do well to win the ball back in the midfield, but then they lose it, and it's Kim Moon-Hwan who comes forwards from the right, up towards Son, edge of the area, can't get the ball out from between his feet, ball's loose inside the D, and eventually Avit-style clearance from Jorge Sanchez, the Mexican right back. Anywhere will do, straight out into touch for a throw into where the ball went.
Yeah, you got to get rid of it. It's good play from South Korea. Son just couldn't get the ball out his feet, wanted to try and shoot on his left, and Mexico got back to defend, and all of a sudden they cleared it away. But that gap again between Alvarez, he's a midfielder playing centre-back, so he's always thinking about a midfielder instead of being a centre-back. He rushes out and he's opening the space between him and his partner, and that's where Son gets the opportunity to run in between.
If you have just switched on, 11 minutes gone in the second half in Guadalajara. Mexico 1, South Korea 0. That goal from Luis Romo. 5 minutes into the second half is what separates the two teams. And also the big breaking news, Andy Burnham has won the Makerfield by-election that was announced in the last few minutes. Laura McGee with much more to come on that at the conclusion of this game. There'll also be much more on 5 Live Breakfast from 6 with Rick Edwards live in Los Angeles and Stefan Powell, who will be fully across everything that's happened in Makerfield overnight. Andy Burnham currently making a speech. You can read more about what he's got to say via the BBC News website and app right now. We are going to see the first substitution being made here. It is going to be made by South Korea. They're taking off Lee Jae-sung and they're bringing on the Wolves man, Hwang Hee-chan. 3 goals for Wolves last season. And now will be a good chance to get his latest one for his country, Charlie, because they need a little bit of magic.
Yeah, he's a good player. Got good energy, good quality on the ball, and he'll look to be a threat. Son's gone off as well.
Son's been replaced. Yes, Son, the other player to make way. So Son going up. What do you make of that, Charlie? When you need a goal, you take off the man who's close to being your record goal scorer.
Yeah, again, but that's you've put Hwang at the top end of the pitch now as a number 9, and obviously not scored many goals last year for Wolves, but he's definitely a threat, and he's just bringing more energy.
Oh Hyun-ju is the other player to come in as South Korea try a shot from distance with Hwang In-byeom from 25 yards out. That's blocked. The significance of Oh Hyun-ju coming on is that he came on to replace Son in the last game and ended up scoring what was the winning goal, as Birmingham City's Paik Seung-ho is the latest South Korean player to be shown a yellow card. So double change, Oh Hyun-ju and Hwang Hee-chan brought onto the field by the South Korean head coach Hong Myung-bo. Second spell in charge. He replaced Jurgen Klinsmann as manager, did Hong Myung-bo back in July 2024. 2 big substitutions there and 1 big call, taking off Son for the second game out of 2 in this World Cup.
Yeah, you listen, as a manager, you make decisions that you feel is right for the team. The last game it worked, and so that's your gut feeling to go with it again. So they'll be looking to try and do that again. Canelo Alvarez there.
Yeah, camera just panning around the stadium at different people in the Guadalajara Stadium. Loads haven't returned still from the half-time break. Loads of those people who haven't returned from a Mexican point of view, missing that goal which came 5 minutes into the second half. But now it's all about whether these two South Korean substitutes can have any kind of impact. Oh Hyun-ju and Hwang Hee-chan on for Son and Lee Jae-sung of Mainz. So 2 changes in that attacking 3 of South Korea. They've got the ball amongst their back 3 at the moment. Mexico 1, South Korea 0 as we tick towards the hour mark in Guadalajara. They've got to start ticking moving into the final third now, Charlie. South Korea, they're going to be forced to come out. It'll be keen to see if they can, because of the way that Mexico have set up. They're so well drilled. Might not be easy on the eye, but it's so effective, that Mexican setup.
Yeah, it's so difficult to play against a back 5. There's no space really in terms of in between positions, but what you have to do is when centre-backs, outside centre-backs definitely step, Sanchez looking to step in, and Vasquez, they'll look to step in. It's making sure that you're getting runs from out to in, so the wingers are trying to run between full-back and that centre-back when it's locked, because what's happening is that Edson Alvarez, he's not covering the space quick enough, so the gap is big enough for you to run through, and looking to say, when you've got quality players on the ball of Lee Kang-in, he's got quality to make things happen, so he'll be looking for that sort of type of pass where he did in the first half, and nearly got a couple of players in as well.
South Korea go back to their goalkeeper, who was at fault for the goal, came for a high ball in the penalty area on the spot, ran into his own defender, dropped the ball, and it was stroked in from 12 yards out by Luis Romo, and that is what separates the two teams at the moment. The 2 players coming on for South Korea. Wolves is Hwang Hee-chan. I mentioned 3 goals for Wolves last season. His last one, though, was on the 3rd of January, so he's gone some time without finding the back of the net. He's on the ball at the moment as he breaks down the left, closing in on the Mexican penalty area. Support arrives wide of him, and now watch the referee blowing his whistle for. He's offside flag's gone up on this near side. The other man to come on, Oh Hyun-ju, mentioned that he scored the winner against the Czech Republic 7 days ago. Spent 2 years at Celtic, joined Besiktas in January as well. Scored in his first 3 games for Besiktas. 1 goal in 1 game so far at the 2026 World Cup. And just looking at the disappointed expressions on some of the South Korean supporters' faces, they're desperate for him to make it 2 games out of 2.
Yeah, again, I say, when you make these substitutions, you're hoping that the lads come on and they can make an impact on the game. It's hugely disappointing for the goalkeeper, the mistake that he made, but if you're Mexico, you're delighted because he didn't really get going in this game yet, and they've got the lead now. It's their opportunity to sit and wait for the opportunity to counter-attack and hope that South Korea open up and maybe get that second goal.
Break in play, because South Korea's Lee Han-byom has just gone down. He's just taken a knock to the face from Raul Jimenez, just back on his feet. Now, you can tell it's not been a classic Mexico performance, A, because they were booed off at half-time, and B, because one of my highlights of the whole World Cup so far was in that opening game. Listening to it on 5 Live, John Murray got so excited that he saw a Mexican wave happen in Mexico. We've not seen a Mexican wave so far tonight in Guadalajara, and that probably just sums up the energy for the most part of this game inside the stadium. But with them now being a goal to the good, Mexico, we might see a wave, Charlie, before the end of the match. Yeah,
but again, but that's what I'm saying, is that the supporters are still on edge because they could feel that the game's not finished. South Korea will have opportunities. I think they've done okay in that, but when the goalkeeper makes a mistake, it's a huge blow for them. But no, they've passed it well enough. They just need sort of moments, more runs in behind, and I think that's where they sort of made that double substitution. Hwang Hee-chan is an athletic player, looks to want to run in behind, but also as well he can hold the ball up, so he'll be definitely a threat in that second half against Alvarez.
South Korea unbeaten in all of their 16 qualifiers, 11 wins and 5 draws, scoring 40 goals, conceding just 8. As I say, winners 7 days ago, coming from behind against the Czech Republic, so in brilliant form in this World Cup campaign, but they have literally hit a wall in Guadalajara. That wall being the back 4, back 5, if you will, of Mexico, who have the ball at the moment. foul on Jimenez, and it will be a free kick to Mexico inside their own half. Jimenez back doing his bit defensively that time. 63 minutes gone in Guadalajara. Mexico 1, South Korea 0. Luis Romo with the goal that separates the two teams. Luis Romo, who actually plays for Guadalajara, unused squad member at the 2022 World Cup. That was his 5th goal in 65 appearances for his country, scoring in his home stadium.
A really special moment for the lad to score in your home World Cup at home, but also in the stadium that you play in for your team. And big moment for him to do that.
Here come Mexico down the left, looking for Quinones, who's been kept reasonably quiet, the man who scored the first goal of the 2026 World Cup.
Yeah, he's sort of come out the game a little bit, hasn't he? He's not really had that much sort of action as he did first half, and managed to keep him quiet now. But yeah, I'm interested to see how South Korea actually come back from this. Do they stay off the game a little bit just now and then look to maybe last 15-20 minutes to bring more energy onto the pitch, because again the substitution make a huge difference to you, and we sort of 30 minutes to go. It's still a long way to go for them.
65 minutes gone in what is, we were talking about this last night actually when we were doing the commentary of Uzbekistan against Colombia. That was a game that was far better than this one, Colombia winning that game by 3-1. But 65 minutes gone in what is match 28 already. 28 games have taken place in 1 week across this World Cup, so still plenty to go. 104 matches in total. It's one of those things where you just get so used to watching the tournament. There's football on day in, day out, night in, night out. When the tournament actually comes to an end in July, you spend a week just trying to get a life again, don't you?
Yeah, but there's
just glued to it.
Pre-season friendlies, there's European games qualifying, so it's non-stop, and again that's why we love the game. There's just plenty of games to watch.
Mexico away, down the left, Quinones cuts in on his right foot, wrong choice because he ran into big time South Korean traffic. If he'd have gone to his left, he'd have had a little bit more space in the wide areas. Instead cut in on his right foot and ran into literally 5 South Korean players who, to their credit, had got back in their numbers. Wrong choice that time from Quinones.
Yeah, the space was on the opposite side actually, if he just cut back and then played the opposite side. But yeah, it was open there for Quinones if he'd picked the right choice, but he didn't, and South Korea did well to get back.
So much live sport across 5 Live and BBC Sounds. We've got all the World Cup football. We've got the Test match, which is going to continue tomorrow between England and New Zealand on Sports Extra. Day 4 of Royal Ascot as well. That's going to be on Sports Extra 3. South Korea come to the edge of the Mexican penalty area here. Good move. It's with Kim Moon Hwan, edge of the area, intercepted by Mexico. They want the throw in to go their way, but it's going to be a South Korean throw on this near side as they look to try and find an equaliser as we tick towards the drinks break in the second half. Mexico 1, South Korea 0, but South Korea have got the ball on this near side with Lee Han-byom. South Korea forced to press as they search for this equaliser. Lee Kang-in of PSG has the ball, and now Lee Han-byom again. Ball to the right. Good interception that time by Jesus Gallardo, who had that chance for Mexico at the start of the second half. South Korea with another throw, which will be taken in 3 minutes' time after the hydration break. So interested, Jolly. I mean, the second half's been noticeably much better than the first. That's not saying much. But the Mexico goal, 5 minutes after half-time, completely changing the layout of this match now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a poor goal from South Korea's choice. But what we did say first half was after this break, this is when South Korea started to get more into the game and started to get a lot of the ball. So interesting to see how this hydration break works for Mexico this time, because in the first half they didn't come out as quick as they did the first half. So no, I still think there's moments in the game for South Korea if they can get the right pass, right little bit of quality. Lee Kang-in is is a player that's trying to get on the ball. He's trying to make things happen for his team, but just hope that one chance could fall for Hwang Hee-chang and he can finish it. But no, I still think they're in the game, and there is definitely going to be opportunities for them.
Well, while Charlie has his own hydration break, I can bring you up to date with everything else that's been going on in the world of sport over the last few hours. So far at the World Cup, the action started in Atlanta in Group A. Late South Africa penalty, earning them a 1-1 draw with the Czech Republic. In Group B, Switzerland beat Bosnia and Herzegovina 4-1 in LA. All the goals coming in the final 20 minutes of the game. And as we heard immediately before this match in Vancouver, co-hosts Canada thrashing 9-man Qatar 6-0 to all but guarantee their spot in the knockout stages. In other football news, Tottenham have announced the £52 million signing of the Dutch defender Jan-Paul van Hecke from Brighton. Liverpool have signed Spanish winger Victor Munoz from Osasuna for £34 million. In cricket, England have work to do in the second test against New Zealand at Trent Bridge. England closing on 222 for 6. They still trail, though, by 169. And it's been reported today that Ben Stokes could return as captain for the third test next week. Stokes is in Durham's squad for their county championship match, which starts later today. At the Women's T20 World Cup, Scotland suffered a heartbreaking defeat, losing by just 7 runs to the West Indies. And in golf, American Wyndham Clark leads the US Open at the end of the first round. He finished on 6 under. Rory McIlroy ended on 1 under. All the latest sports news available right now via the BBC Sport website and app. If you go to the BBC News website and app, you can get the latest from Makerfield. Andy Burnham winning the Makerfield by-election for Labour. As I say, all the reaction, including quotes from Andy Burnham, available on the app right now. Laura McGee will have loads of reaction on 5 Live at the conclusion of this game. Mexico are going to make 2 changes here. They're going to bring on their number 17, who is Orbelin Pineda, and number 18, who is Obed Vargas of Atletico Madrid. So double change, Pineda and Vargas coming on. And the 2 to make way. The goal scorer, Luis Romo's gone off, as has Brian Gutierrez. So a couple of changes there, Charlie, just to freshen things up more than anything else for Mexico.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, get fresh legs on with this humidity and the heat to try and freshen it up, and South Korea making changes as well. Yeah,
they're gonna bring on momentarily South Korea their number 20, Yang Hyun-jun of Celtic. 10 goals for Celtic last season. Just 9 caps, playing in his first World Cup, so a recognisable name coming on in the South Korean team as well, as they make a change. Double change made by Mexico, which we just told you about. Game restarts following that hydration break. And a third change has been made as well. Or a second change, sorry, has been made by South Korea. They've brought on the Swansea man, Ji-sung. 3 goals and 48 appearances for Swansea last season. So both teams making a double change as we go into the final quarter of this game, Charlie.
Yeah, the lad from South, Yang Hyun-jun, he did well for Celtic last year at the sort of back end of the season, and scored some big goals for them. And he's got real speed, good power in terms of pressing and getting after the ball. So again, positive change from South Korea coach, and trying to make a difference with sort of last period of the game, and looking to try and get that equaliser.
So 2 recognisable names coming on then for South Korea. 1 player from Swansea, Ji-sung. 1 player for Celtic, Yang Hyun-jun. The players to make way, Kim Moon-hwan, who came in as the only change for South Korea from the side that started against the Czech Republic 7 days ago, and Seol Young-woo has also made way. So both wide players being changed for South Korea. 72.5 minutes on the clock. If you have just switched on, hello, good morning. It's 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Mexico leading South Korea by 1-0. The goal scorer, Luis Romo, just going off, capitalising on a big drop by the South Korean goalkeeper Kim Seong-ju. Come for a high ball on the penalty spot, fumbled it, and it was a simple stroke home for Luis Romo from 12 yards out. And it's Mexico who have the ball with Quinones on this near side. Runs into South Korean traffic, but they can't make it stick, and Mexico have the ball back with Gallardo down the left. He gets clattered, and Mexico will have a free kick midway inside the South Korean half. And Mexico will just take this opportunity, Charlie, just to waste a few more seconds now as we go into the closing stages of this game in Guadalajara.
Yeah, Yang just making a foul there on Gallardo there, so No, just taking the time, taking moments. Coach now just trying to wave, get up. He's trying to tell his player to get up. No, these are the moments you just take your time, set it up, look to put it in the box. No need to rush.
Mexico down the left again with Gallardo, who gets clattered for a second time. Won a free kick last time, doesn't this time, according to our referee Gustavo Tejera from Uruguay. That one looked more of a nailed-on free kick than the first, but there you go. We're sitting here with microphones. He's down there as a qualified referee. Ball with Mexico inside the centre circle with the substitute Vargas. Back to Gallardo on this near side. Mexico leading on 5 Live and BBC Sounds by a 1-0. And what that means in the context of this game, Mexico are going to go through to the knockout stages if they can hold on to these 3 points as they try and play in Quinones down the left. Too much on the pass. Ball goes behind for a goal kick to South Korea. So just looking at the live Group A table as things stand, all of the teams will have played 2. Mexico with 6 points, South Korea second with 3, Czech Republic third with 1, South Africa fourth with 1. So Mexico guaranteed to go through to the knockout stages if they can hold on to this 1-0 lead. Quinones with a cross here in towards Jimenez. Good save by the goalkeeper. That was a good ball by Quinones, saved by the keeper at his near post. Then Jimenez, in trying to recover the situation during the second phase, is penalised for a foul. He claps his hands and looks up at the sky as he walks away, because he knows that was a massive chance to get his second goal of the tournament and to wrap up this game. Goalkeeper at his near post, Charlie Adam, made himself very big.
Yeah, it's a lovely ball from Quinones. It's the first time he's done sort of second half, really made an impact on it. But it's a lovely touch from Jimenez, and it was in the end just stretching, but it was a good save from the goalkeeper, made up for his mistake earlier. But yeah, it was a lovely ball for Quinones over that back post to Jimenez. 15
minutes to go. Games come to life, certainly in the second half compared with the first. It's been a much better watch in Guadalajara. Mexico leading. What can South Korea do about it? They were very nearly out of it.
Yeah, it's the energy. The substitutes make a huge difference, isn't it? It's what a pass.
Yeah, long ball down the South Korean right. Ball pulled across the 6 yards area, and it was so close to an equaliser. Now a man's gone down in the box. Was that a foul? No, says the referee. None of it matters anyway, because the offside flag has gone up on this near side against Lee Kang In fact, it was the earlier phase. It's the Celtic player Yang Hyun-jun who was just caught offside down the right. Ball across the 6 yards area towards Lee Kang-in, who was sliding in and very, very nearly got there.
Yeah, it's brilliant movement from Yang. Comes short, pulls Gallardo in behind, and he just strays offside. Lee Kang-in actually goes with the wrong foot. I think he could have went with his left foot, but it was good movement. That threat in behind from Yang was very, very good, and I've seen it a few times at Celtic this year where he's done that. He's got power, he's got pace to run in behind, and yeah, he's a threat.
2 chances, one at either end in the last 2 minutes. Mexico with the chance to kill the game through Jimenez as South Korea get ready to make their latest substitution. They're going to take off the Birmingham City man Paik Seung-ho, and the player to come on, the Midtjylland striker Jo Ju-sung, scored twice in the 4 games that he played at the Qatar World Cup 4 years ago, so he knows how to find the back of the net in international football, the Midtjylland man. He comes on to replace Birmingham City's Paik Seung-ho, who for the second game running, Charlie's been kept reasonably quiet in the midfield.
Yeah, he's been quiet. It's hard to really make an impact in this game, and it's everything sort of come through Lee Kang-in. I think he's probably sort of been the best player for Korea. He's tried to make things happen. Lovely left foot, but yeah, it's been difficult to take him off, freshen up, trying to get that sort of other striker at the top end of the pitch with Wang Hee-chang.
Here come South Korea with men forwards on this counter-attack here. Ball to the edge of the penalty area. Oh Hyun-ju is up there. Can they play a high ball over the top? Lee Kang-in, the PSG man, on the ball at the moment. Dead centre, 30 yards out, and puts it about 10 yards over the crossbar. But it was a sighted goal for South Korea.
Yeah, that was his chance to maybe play out wide and then make the box, but instead he cuts back on his left foot, and he's 25-30 yards out, and he's shot over the bar. But he's impressed me tonight. I think he's been sort of one of the best players on the pitch, trying to make things happen for his team, and it's just not happened for South Korea yet.
Mexico getting ready to make another substitution. Substitutions coming thick and fast now. They're getting ready to bring on Santiago Jimenez of AC Milan during the next break in play. So Santiago Jimenez wearing shirt number 11, standing by. What I did love when that shot cleared the crossbar there, the joy on the face of a Mexican supporter who caught the match ball behind that goal. You would have thought he'd won the lottery, I'll be honest with you. He caught the match ball. He looked so happy with himself. It is, I mentioned this when I was doing the South Korea-Czech Republic game last week, it is an excellent looking match ball that we've got at this FIFA World Cup. As a nerd, like it's just superb. Multicolours, greens, reds, blues, blacks, it looks great.
Yeah, hopefully he's kept it. A good souvenir to walk out the game of. But no, I think it's, like I said before, I think it's been a brilliant spectacle so far this World Cup. There's been some good games, some been poor games, but overall I think it's been an experience to actually watch it and commentate on it. It's been very, very good.
Mexico getting ready to make a double change because they're also going to bring on Israel Reyes as well, wearing shirt number 15. But the first substitution is going to see the AC Milan man, Santiago Jimenez, come on in place of Raúl Jimenez, who had that chance a few moments ago. That was his last real effort of the game. And we're going to see Israel Reyes come on in place of the number 25, Roberto Alvarado, who tried his best to get involved in the first half. He's been kept quiet in the second. So Mexico with more changes there, Charlie, as they look to see this game over the line now as we go into the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's just, we talk about game changers. It's now, the subs look the people to finish the game for you. You're 1-0 up. Now they need to make an impact from the bench to see this game out, and that'll make Mexico qualify from this group with a game to go.
Israel Reyes, who plays his club football in Mexico for Club America, has won 3 league titles with them since joining them in 2022. And Santiago Jimenez joined AC Milan for 25 million euros last January, scored on his debut and scored 6 during last season. Didn't score any because of injury in this most recent season, though. He's on to try and have an impact for Mexico. And as we were saying a few moments ago, when Raúl Jimenez had that chance, one more goal for Mexico will not only see them win the game, but we'll see them qualify for the knockout stages as Mexico go long towards Santiago Jimenez, looking to get his first touch of the game. Just a little bit too much on that, and the ball carries all the way through to Kim Seong-ju. Next live commentary is on 5 Live and BBC Sounds tomorrow. We've seen one host country, Canada, win their second group game 6-0 against Qatar. We're seeing another host country, Mexico, here lead their second group game by 1-0 against South Korea. It's the turn of USA. Next, they take on Australia, 8 o'clock tomorrow. Full commentary on 5 Live and BBC Sounds with Dion Dublin and Vicky Sparks. Charlie, very excited for the 11 p.m. kickoff in what is tonight now as we go into Friday. Scotland against Morocco, 11 o'clock. Pat Nevin and Alistair Lamont, your team for that. And then 1:30 tomorrow morning, Chris Coles and Andy Reid will have full commentary of Brazil's second game of the tournament. Draw in the first game, they take on Haiti. 1:30 kickoff tomorrow. So games coming thick and fast, all of them covered for you on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Full commentary of 92 of the 104 matches at this biggest ever World Cup. 8 minutes to go plus stoppage time in Guadalajara. Mexico 1, South Korea 0. 18 minutes to 4 across the UK. 18 minutes to 9 in Guadalajara. South Korea have the ball in the centre circle with a Bayern Munich defender, Kim Min-jae. Keeps it moving to Lee Han-byom. South Korea desperately trying to find an equaliser, but have yet to have a shot on target in this game. And Mexico pick their pockets and come away with the ball on the halfway line with the substitute Piniad, wearing shirt number 17, goes back into his own half and gives it to Edson Alvarez, the West Ham man who spent the last season on loan at Fenerbahce. Mexico will go back to their goalkeeper and they'll just keep the ball and waste as much time as they can because they're on the way to back-to-back wins, Charlie, and back-to-back clean sheets as well.
Yeah, it's, let's say, second half been a much better performance than it was first half, but I still say South Korea, the energy's still there, the enthusiasm to go and press and aggressive. The fitness of the South Koreans has been immaculate, and they're still looking to try and get yourself back in the game, and this is not over yet. They're still looking to try and hopefully create one moment that can get them there. You've seen that with when Yang come on with that running behind, so they'll be looking to hopefully he can do something in the next sort of 5-10 minutes before the end of the game.
Quinones going off as Mexico make their final change. The man who is coming on to replace Quinones, the scorer of this World Cup's first goal, Cesar Huerta of Anderlecht, playing at his first World Cup. 3 Mexican goals to his credit prior to this tournament and other competitions, but he comes on for the final 6 minutes plus stoppage time wearing shirt number 21, Cesar Huerta of Anderlecht. So the Mexican head coach, Javier Aguirre, who's stepping down at the end of this tournament, has made all 5 substitutions. Third stint in charge of the national team. His assistant, Rafael Marquez, will take over when they get to the end of this World Cup.
He was a big player for Mexico.
Yeah, well-known name. Really well-known name. As the ball at the moment is with the current Mexican goalkeeper, Raul Rangel, who's hardly been tested all evening in Guadalajara. As we mentioned a few moments ago, no shots on target so far for South Korea. As Mexico have the ball in the midfield. One more goal will wrap up this game and see them through to the knockout stages. Shot from distance, good save! Really good save by Kim Seung-ju, flying away to his left to deny the substitute Obed Vargas, who caught that brilliantly from 20 yards out.
Yeah, it's a lovely ball into Santiago Jimenez. Defender blocks it, heads it down, and Vargas comes onto it and has a lovely strike and down to the left-hand side. It's a good save from the goalkeeper.
I love it when you see a goalkeeper fly to one side with a really strong hand, and that was an excellent strong hand to just pour the ball away.
Yeah, it was an excellent save. He struck it well, Vargas, and it was a good save from the goalkeeper. Just parried it back in. He managed to get hold of it after that.
Mexico looking to seal this game with a second goal, but they need to be careful not to get caught down the other end. They nearly did, but Cesar Huerta, who's just come on, dribbles the ball clear just in the nick of time under pressure from 2 South Korean players there.
Nearly gets in there. It's just nearly nicked in front of the midfielder there to get on the ball of Vargas, but he did well to recover that.
4 minutes to go plus stoppage time. Just that narrow 1-goal lead for Mexico. Any slips at the back could allow South Korea in. I mentioned South Korea's form earlier. Won their opener against the Czech Republic and were unbeaten in all 16 of their World Cup qualifiers, scoring 40 goals along the way. They're no pushovers, South Korea, ranked 25th in the world, 10 places behind Mexico in the official world rankings. And there hasn't been too much to choose between these two teams across the course of the 86.5 minutes that we've seen so far. It's literally been just that tiny bit more quality in the final third that's been telling for Mexico.
Yeah, it's just a goalkeeping error really. It's just cost them the game. I think overall, South Korea have had a lot of the ball but not really done much with it.
South Korea with a cross from the left, header goes in, good save, can it be put over the line? It can't, it's saved on the line by Raul Rangel, just as Cho Ju-sung, the substitute, looked to poke it in from a yard out. Great ball in the first place though to cause carnage.
Yeah, I said Lee, they need one big chance to create, and that was a lovely ball, just shaped in there. And Cho Gi-sung just heads it, doesn't get enough power on it, and it's a brilliant save from the goalkeeper. But again, it's a lovely ball, gets in between centre back and full back, and he just didn't make proper connection with it.
Cho Ju-sung headed it down 4 yards out. Goalkeeper saved it on the line, and then as the ball went loose, he regathered it at the second time of asking, clattering his own defender Johan Vasquez in the process, but it looked like it was going to balloon over him because the keeper, having made the first save, was on the ground having saved the header. Ball went loose, came back at him, and as it looked like it was going to go over him, he rose out of nowhere, got clattered by his own defender. Brave goalkeeping. He's just receiving some treatment at the moment. He gets a pat on the leg from teammate Israel Reyes because he put his body on the line there, and he keeps it at 1-0 Mexico.
Yeah, that was the big moment, that was the big chance, and he doesn't really connect with it well. He doesn't get enough power on it. It's a lovely ball in, and it's a good save from the goalkeeper, and to be fair, the second rebound just goes straight into his hands, but it is it was a big chance for South Korea.
Two good pieces of goalkeeping in the last few minutes, because we've just got a look at the replay that denied Vargas. Great save by Kim Seong-ju just a couple of minutes before that. Vargas striking the ball brilliantly from 20 yards out for Mexico. And we're into the final 90 seconds plus stoppage time now in Guadalajara. Is that the chance, or is there one more for South Korea? You do wonder.
Well, there's still time, and that was to say that they had that overload at the back post there, and Chu Gi-sung nearly got that. It was just a brilliant ball in there, and his header's got to go back. He probably too close to the goalkeeper, maybe could have went back across the goal a little bit, but that was an unbelievable ball, and now he's applauding his teammate. But there's still a chance to maybe create something else now.
I mentioned when he came on as a substitute, Cho Ju-sung scored twice at the last World Cup in Qatar 4 years ago. Very, very nearly opened his account, stopped on the line by Raul Rangel. And to just give the goalkeeper a little bit more credit, we were having a laugh at different goalkeepers' expense in the first half. That's the first real thing he's had to do in the whole match, and it came in the 88th minute.
Yeah, again, that's the saying is when your goalkeeper's alert and he's still switched on at this time of the game, and it's a brilliant save. Could be the big save to qualify Mexico for the next stage.
It's all about how long is going to be added on for stoppages by the fourth official on this near side now as we tick towards the 90 minutes. Mexico, are they going to get a free kick for a foul in the midfield? No, they'll get a throw in though on this near side, just in front of the South Korean technical area. 90 minutes are up. Fourth official is standing by, and we're just waiting to see how long we're going to get. That is 6 minutes to be added on at the end of the game in Guadalajara. 6 minutes for South Korea to find a goal. If they don't, Mexico will have qualified for the last 32 of the World Cup, as Mexico themselves come forwards here looking for a second goal to secure the 3 points.
Yeah, it's now about having a good shape, good organisation, not doing anything silly, just clearing your lines, getting hold of the ball. But again, if you've got Alvarez making sure that he's organised his team as a leader, as a captain, making sure we're disciplined and we don't go chasing and we're opening things up, because South Korea will just look to be putting balls in the box. We need to defend. Box defending needs to be strong and need to go and win every ball.
Edson Alvarez, he's struggled with injury while on loan at Fenerbahce, on loan from West Ham. He has led by example at the back of a really well organised back line, or at the heart of a really well organised back line of Mexico, as South Korea sending across from the left, deflected behind. Mexico with some defending to do here. We'll see how well organised that back line is now, because they're going to have to defend what I make to be the first South Korean corner of the game.
Yeah, it was good play going on the outside. I think when you've got left foot and the right foot playing the inside, they want to come on the inside, don't want to go on the outside, and the lad goes on the outside there and gets his first corner.
First corner to South Korea, and it's come in the 92nd minute. An away swinger from the South Korea left. In it goes towards the 6 yards area and headed wide in the end of the target by Lee Hyun-byum, who come forwards from the back, and he'll look at that. He rose above Vasquez. Wasn't exactly a free header, but he had a clear sight at it.
No, it's a lovely ball in there, and the right centre back goes and wins it, Lee Hyun-byum, and he just gets above it too much and ends up putting it wide. But it was a decent enough chance for him.
2 minutes of the 4, or 2 minutes of the 6 rather, have elapsed. Mexico 1, South Korea 0 on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. We'll be back with Laura McGee at 4 o'clock. She'll have all the reaction to the big breaking news of the last hour. Andy Burnham winning the Makerfield by-election for Labour. So a big night for the Labour Party in one sense. What happens next when it comes to the leadership? Now that Andy Burnham's won that, we'll wait and see. Laura with all the analysis in the next hour ahead of Wake Up to Money. Then it's 5 Live Breakfast from 6 with Stefan Powell with more on the Makerfield by-election, and Rick Edwards, who of course is live from Los Angeles throughout the World Cup. South Korea with the ball on the halfway line with Lee Hyun-byum, who should have done much better with that header moments ago at the back post. Was that it from a South Korean point of view? 3 minutes of stoppage time remain for them to try and find an equaliser. Mexico so close to the knockout stages. Cross goes in from the left this time, and it's another header wide This time it was Cho Ju-sung. Did it take a deflection on the way through? Yes, it did. And South Korea will have their second corner in quick succession, like London buses.
Yeah, it's just good defending there from Vasquez. Yeah, he gets across the front, and there's a lovely ball in again. So there's another ball on the outside. Whipped out swinger here now for South Korea.
Lee Kang-in, the PSG man, is going to take this cut. Well,
somebody's just thrown something at him.
Something's been thrown from the crowd, from some of those Mexican supporters over on the far side. Just delays the taking of the corner. Lee Kang-in raises his right hand in the air, sends in a good-looking cross. In it goes. Nobody could really get a firm header on that. Ball falls loose inside the penalty area. Anywhere will do from a Mexican point of view, and that anywhere is deep inside the South Korean half for a throw-in in their right back area. The opportunity to just waste a few more seconds. Less than 2 minutes to go now in Guadalajara. Mexico were just looking at their supporters and looking at some of the substitutes on the side of the field. They know they're so close to confirming a place in the last 32, the first knockout phase of this newly expanded World Cup. The first team to mathematically guarantee their place in the knockout stages as well.
They've come to life, the Mexican fans now. They know they're nearly there.
Yeah, they were booing at the end of the first half because it was so dull. They're not booing now because they're so close. They go down the centre to South Korea. Edson Alvarez with an anywhere will do clearance once more. Final minute of stoppage time as South Korea go long, searching desperately for an equaliser. Won their first game, so still all to play for in the final round of group fixtures for them. Their next game next Thursday at 2 o'clock against South Africa. Mexico will face the Czech Republic at the same time. And the ball here goes out for a South Korean throw midway inside the Mexican half. Towel comes out because it's going to be a long throw to be sent in by Swansea City's Ji-song. Long throw, nearly reaches the 6 yards line. It's loose inside the penalty area. Mexico clear on the turn through Pineda, but South Korea have it back in the midfield. They need to get it forwards quickly though. Lee Ji-yuk goes long. Goalkeeper's come a long way, gets a good right glove on that to punch the ball clear. 20 seconds of stoppage time remain, and here come Mexico down the centre with the opportunity to wrap this game up. They move forwards. Vargas, he could have played in a teammate. Huerta to his left, decided to go alone. Wrong option as he got dispossessed.
Yeah, he's done well to break there, but that's the difference. I thought the goalkeeper...
There's the final whistle though, Charlie. It doesn't matter. There is the final whistle. Drinks being thrown in the air all around the Guadalajara Stadium because Mexico have confirmed their place in the last 32 of the 2026 World Cup. A goal from Luis Romo 5 minutes into the second half, following a goalkeeping error, enough to see Mexico through as the first team guaranteed a place mathematically in the last 32.
Yeah, it's all down to a goalkeeping error, isn't it? It's Kim Sung-ju has made a huge mistake, and that's the difference between the two goalkeepers. Raul Rangel comes there last minute, the ball goes and punches it, and the South Korea goalkeeper should have done the same, and it's a huge error for him, because I thought South Korea had some moments in the game. They did okay, did well enough, but Mexico, home advantage taking account, and yeah, they'll be delighted they're in the last 32 now.
Luis Romo, the goal scorer, has just gone running to who I assume was his partner in the crowd, because they just had a long embrace and a long kiss to celebrate, and you can just see lots of embracing going on all around the Mexico half of the field at the moment. They know that was a big test that they've come through there. They've got the job done against a very stubborn looking South Korean team at times, and they've qualified for the knockout stages with a game to spare.
Yeah, and now they play Czech Republic, so like you say, looking at now they'll be able to see who they play in the last 32 or around who they're going to play, but maybe an opportunity to rest a couple of players as well, which is important.
For South Korea though, just as we look at their final game, they face South Africa next Thursday, 2 a.m. Both final games in the group kicking off at the same time. They've got the 3 points, having beaten the Czech Republic last week. Have you seen enough from South Korea to make you think they've got enough to see it through?
Yeah, absolutely. They're the sort of second best team. They're at times tonight I thought they'd done really well, but yeah, I would expect them to beat South Africa, and they're showing that South Africa have shown in both games. So South Korea they'll be happy gone into that game with an opportunity to get 6 points and automatically qualify for that as well.
The party has started in Guadalajara. Mexican flags being waved absolutely everywhere. I mentioned the drinks that were being thrown up into the air to greet the final whistle. It's a big win for Mexico there. 6 points from the 2 games that they've got. Top of the group. South Korea second with 3 points, and then Czech Republic third on 1. South Africa fourth on 1. And as we just mentioned there, when you're talking about a test of character, Mexico, lots of questions asked of them there in both halves, and they had the answers just about.
Yeah, they defended really well. South Korea had more possession in the second half, but I thought Mexico defended the box really well. Alvarez and Vasquez. I thought Sanchez did really well as sort of right back, right centre back at times. Done really well in terms of defending, box defending. So gives them a good platform, clean sheet, and job done.
Luis Romo, the goal scorer, just celebrates with the crowd with his arms in the air. He's the man who got the job done for Mexico tonight. Charlie, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your company. The games are going to come thick and fast on 5 Live and BBC Sounds over the next 24 hours. Next live game, 8 o'clock tonight, USA against Australia with Dion Dublin and Vicky Sparks. 11 o'clock, the biggie, Scotland against Morocco. And then 1:30 tomorrow morning, Brazil against Haiti with Chris Coles and Andy Reid. Right now, exactly 4 o'clock, here's Laura McGee.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much to Lee Blakeman and Charlie Adam for taking us through that one. We've finally got a goal. Thank goodness. We finally got some drama as well between Mexico and South Korea. The co-hosts are the first nation to qualify for the knockout stage, thanks to Romo's second half strike. Too little, too late for South Korea, unfortunately. Right, coming up after the news headlines, we will hear a little bit from Andy Burnham, who has won the Makerfield by-election, paving the way for him to challenge Keir Starmer as Labour leader. We'll also hear from our Scotland editor, James Cook, who will update us on what happened at the Aberdeen South by-election and the Arbroath and Broughty Ferry. All that coming up after the latest news headlines.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
BBC News with Govinda Gill. Iran's supreme leader has said President Trump approved the deal to halt their war out of desperation. In his first comment since the accord was signed on Thursday, Mujtaba Khamenei said Tehran would not submit if Washington made excessive demands in upcoming negotiations to make the peace permanent. Earlier, the US Vice President J.D. Vance defended the deal against widespread accusations it gives many concessions to Iran, adding that 12.5 million barrels of oil had already flowed through the Strait of Hormuz. Nick Marsh in Singapore says there will be relief in Asia.
The vast majority of these vessels will be delivering their cargoes to countries in Asia, many of whom had relied on fuel rationing just to stay afloat economically. Others drew on their stockpiles, and some turned to different, more expensive sources of crude oil, as well as previously sanctioned Russian oil. But as ships tentatively make their way through, there are still deep uncertainties as to whether this deal will hold.
The Labour Mayor of Manchester, Andy Burnham, has won a seat in Parliament, enabling him to challenge the embattled British Prime Minister Keir Starmer for his job. Mr Burnham scored a decisive win in the Makerfield by-election over the candidate from the anti-immigration Reform Party, which Labour has been lagging behind in opinion polls.
I do say to my own party, this is a final chance to change. This is what people said directly to me on the hundreds of doorsteps that I stood on. We must hear it. We must act upon it, and we must get it right. There will be no second chance. But it is a chance now, from this result tonight, to build a new politics based on unity and hope.
Venezuelan officials say representatives of the interim president, Delcy Rodriguez, have met a member of the opposition for the first time in almost 3 years, in a development hailed by the United States. Guy Pitt reports.
Jorge Rodriguez, the president's brother and parliamentary leader, held talks with Dinira Figuera, who returned to Venezuela from Spain on Thursday. Officials said they discussed a concrete schedule for democracy. The US State Department said this included strengthening the Electoral Commission, political participation and open political discourse. A spokesman called it a first step in what he said would be a thoughtful process to secure a free and open Venezuelan society. Washington removed Ms. Rodriguez's boss, Nicolas Maduro, in January, putting its faith in her to lead a transition, while snubbing the opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado.
World News from the BBC.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The voice of the UK. On digital radio.
On BBC Sounds.
And ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio 5 Live.
Let's get an update on the latest weather forecast with Louise Lear.
Good morning. A tale of two halves has dominated weather headlines in recent days, and it looks likely that we're going to see a north-south divide through Friday. But as we move into the weekend, high pressure that's dominating across the near continent drifts a little bit further north and allows for a quieter story right across the country. And there are indications that for the rest of this month, particularly across England and Wales, it's going to remain hot, dry and sunny. But for today, we've got a weather front lingering across Scotland, Northern Ireland, through the Irish Sea and into the north of England. And it will bring some heavy outbreaks of rain at times, particularly across northern England and parts of Wales, as it pushes its way steadily south and east through the afternoon. It will be a misty, murky start to the day across Wales and southwest England as well. And as the front sinks its way out of Scotland, brightening up to a few scattered showers. But for central, eastern and southeast England, it will be a pretty warm, muggy start to the day. There'll be a lot of sunshine, light winds and temperatures responding. So in the sunshine, we could see highs of 29 to 30 degrees. But under the cloud and the showery rain further north, temperatures will struggle, 17 to 19 Celsius at the very best. Moving out of Friday into Saturday, that weather front will weaken as it sinks south, but it does mean potentially a little bit more in the way of fair weather cloud around. But ultimately, Saturday will be a dry, settled, sunny day with a few isolated showers. A little warmer further north, 17 to 20 degrees the high, but in the best of the sunnier moments across England and Wales, mid to high 20s, still quite possible. Into Sunday, it's likely that we will see more heat returning. It will be dry and settled for many, and the peak of the heat possible on Monday. We could see temperatures across central and southern parts of England and Wales as high as 30, perhaps 33 Celsius. Louise Lear, 5 Live Weather.
The voice of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
BBC Radio 5 Live.
Coming up today. At 8, it's USA versus Australia. Then at 11, Scotland take on Morocco.
Tomorrow morning at 1:30, Brazil versus Haiti.
And at 4 a.m,
Turkey face Paraguay.
And the Football Daily podcast on BBC Sounds gets you closer to the World Cup than ever before.
The FIFA World Cup 2026.
Ask your smart speaker. Play 5 Live. The voice of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
With Laura McGee.
Good morning, everyone. It is coming up to 7 minutes past 4 on Friday the 19th of June. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. I hope you've enjoyed our football coverage over the last few hours. As well as that, there's been drama in the Makerfield by-election. Labour's Andy Burnham has won the Makerfield by-election, paving the way for him to challenge Keir Starmer as Labour Party leader. Burnham previously said he would seek to enter any Labour leadership contest. He would need the support of at least 81 Labour MPs to join the race. The Makerfield by-election was triggered by the resignation of Labour MP Josh Simons. In just a moment or two, we're going to speak to our political correspondent Harry Farley, who has been at the Makerfield by-election for us over the past few hours. But following the announcement, following the results earlier on, Andy Burnham took to the stage to say a few words.
Everyone knows that politics isn't working. Everyone can feel that the country isn't where it should be. Tonight just could, be the turning point. From here on, I will give everything I have got to make it so, to ensure the name Makerfield is forever synonymous with bringing about the change this country needs, bringing back something we've lost, hope. I am proud that this place has shone in the world's spotlight these last 5 weeks. And the warmth, humour and hospitality of its people has been on show for all to see. It will never be a stepping stone to me, but instead will be my touchstone. A Makerfield test at the heart of British politics will ensure the places Westminster has neglected will now get fairness. I spoke in the campaign about the need to change politics. I promised to lead by example from the front as your Member of Parliament. I know people who traditionally vote for the Conservatives, the Liberal Democrats, the Greens, and perhaps more recently, in May, for Reform UK, have given me their support in this election. I will always have respect to them for that, and out of respect for them, I will always take a place first rather than a party first approach, and I will focus on problem solving rather than point scoring, and I will work hard after this by-election to heal the divisions of this campaign, and let it be really understood that I will be your MP however you voted. When this borough went to the polls